One side. Is that the one?
What are you hearing right now? Hey,
Boys,
Pato.
hello. Oh, my
There you
mic
go.
was off.
All right. So yeah, I snapped, and we're good to go. Darby, welcome to the show, my man.
Thank you.
Hell
Thank
yes.
you. Where's the camera? Where
Right
should
over
we-
here.
You
my
got
man.
camera
Oh,
here,
hey.
camera there, camera here.
Look under your seat. There's a camera there. We're filming your butt.
No, I brought that one. That's
Hey.
Butt camera.
secret pervert cam.
Yeah. Thank you for making this.
Thank you very
Darby,
much.
Talented comedian, YouTuber,
I don't know about that.
blogger.
World traveler.
Yeah.
Well, I was a blogger.
Yeah.
I was a blogger for 15 years,
Yeah.
up until 1 week ago.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
you
saw
quit?
that. No.
Some may say I retired. Some may say I didn't pay the hosting domain fee, but
I thought
know.
you were like canceled for some reason. I saw
No.
stories where you put like, oh, they finally did it. You
That's just me bullshit.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, and that sounded very Trump. Like, they did it. Finally, they got me.
That's a good Trump.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
But we were talking about your upbringing. By the way, if there's something you don't want to talk about, we can always cut it. Don't think that this is like a set thing. We can always, it's flexible. It's
Yeah, we're not going to talk about the kids. It's fine. They're fine.
stay
I
out.
don't know why you even asked about that. The kids are fine.
Everything else, I mean, I am an open book.
awesome.
That was my blog. It was called Explicit Exploits because it's very explicit. It's out there.
Yeah. No
and,
filter type of shit.
Yeah, and I felt like
That's a YouTube channel too, right? Explicit Explorer.
Explicit Explorers.
Explorers, plural.
And a lot of people asked, I said, isn't this your channel? And I said, yeah. And they said, why is it Explicit Explorers?
plural.
And I said, I thought there would be a lot more fucking people helping out with this, but you start doing a YouTube channel and it's a lot of work.
Yeah, I
It
thought the
is.
same about
It's
this
a lot of work.
podcast.
Sorry about that, Pato.
Pato is carrying the podcast lately.
He
Thank
is.
you, Pato.
I just said, you're our DP. And he's like, yeah, I'm the double penetration. So this is not a professional operation by
No.
any means.
Yeah, and then I sent a reel the other day, and Gabriel's just like, "Fuck this,
Yeah, I'm
trashy
sorry.
ass reel."
No, sorry.
I got a fucking life, man. I got
know, I know,
people
I know.
to feed.
And it was okay. You got people to feed? What the fuck do you mean?
Oh, me, I gotta feed myself.
Yeah.
plural. But yeah, so Darby, thank you
Yes.
very much. And we were talking about how bad your teenage years were.
Growing up in Chicago.
Yeah, cold, obviously.
Very cold.
We were kind of, I'll just go back to our previous conversation. We were discussing how I was in a mental institution
For a while, yeah.
When I was 16 years old,
Yep.
senior in high school. I probably shouldn't have been there.
Yeah, it was from
were
what I
young.
hear, it was more of like a move from your parents to like, let's
Well,
carry him out of
So,
this
yes.
bad behaviors.
Yes. However, I was in there and the thing was, it's a routine. You get
Yeah.
in there, they wake you up there every day, they give you a nice knock on the door, they bring
Yeah.
you breakfast, a bunch of pills.
Yeah.
Is that breakfast?
That's
Just
breakfast.
Like, oh,
That's
shit.
breakfast, and you become just like a
they numb
hollow
you.
shell.
Right.
Yeah. of
You're
yourself.
like, oh. And I had been in there 2 weeks, and I still didn't know, am I getting out of this motherfucker? Like, why am I here?
Right.
And then my psychiatrist shows up, and then everything clicked in my head. I'm like, he's the reason I'm here.
Oh no.
And he came in, and I had this urge to leap up and just strangle the guy.
Oh, fuck.
that should prove for them to take you out.
Let me out of here! He's got a point. He's got a
He was
point.
going like, hey, you're free to leave. What the fuck?
And that's when I put everything together. I think he had probably convinced my parents, like, well, he is a troublesome child, so
Yeah.
you need to put him in there, give him a chance to express himself.
You thought they were in like they
In
were
cahoots.
like in cahoots.
Yeah.
Right. The adults are confabulating against you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Good word.
Is that a real word?
I think so. I don't know. It just came out, dude. I don't even read. What the
Good
fuck?
school. Good school.
All right.
And so I had been in there 2 weeks by this point, and he said, well, how now would you like to return to school? And I
Fuck
thought,
this.
fucking school?
Give me the pills, baby.
Give me the pills. But I just wanted to be out of there, So I ended up playing nice. I was out of there a couple days later.
Right.
I was very bitter towards the world the rest of the year.
Yeah.
I did not. So technically, I did not graduate high school.
Oh.
Like I said, I had poor behavior most of
Yeah.
my teenage years, and basically there was an incident.
Yeah.
Let me go back in time a little bit. So we had classes, 10 classes a day. We called them periods,
Yeah.
not women's menstrual cycles. They were
No,
just the way they measure them. And I had been kicked out of my first period class. It was yearbook. And,
Wait, you had a class for yearbook?
I had a class for yearbook.
They make the yearbook all year.
Really?
Oh, okay.
What a waste of time.
Yeah, American school
Hence
system.
year.
Ridiculous. Yeah.
And
So this is a photograph. You put it in the book. Everybody got it?
Dude, the yearbooks are sick though. Have you guys not seen an American yearbook? It's
Yeah,
actually
yeah,
sick.
I mean, I
sure.
did it in movies,
It's a
but
lot
I've
of
never
fun.
seen
do you guys have yearbooks?
We did.
No, we have the
South America?
Orla in Spain. Like,
Yeah?
you just get a picture at the end of your, like, when you graduate, you just get a picture with your entire class, and that's about it.
We had the yearbook at the end of middle school and then at the end of high school. Like they did like a book for the whole period.
Yeah, it's like
not
a magazine.
period, but yeah,
You know?
kind of where people write shit, right?
That does. I would like to have that now, like to look back and because I only have the picture of like the people I went to school with, so all I can really tell is who's going bald and who's like really worsening. That's all.
Well, it's Spain, so probably everyone.
Yeah, a bunch, dude. We're not doing good.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, dude. I had a friend of mine. He started at 23 with the pills and the hair, and now it's so weird. He was all his life he had like very light brown hair, and now he did the treatment and it's all black. It's just like huge.
He's
like
got an afro.
no, can you imagine just a white guy with a huge afro? And he still has the beard, so his beard is his original like color, kind of like Pato's hair, sort of. And then his hair is just full black,
jet black,
which is so weird.
This reminds me, just before we go, we had a yearbook at the end of high school, and I was fighting with my at the time girlfriend, and I remember during the period that they were going to take a group picture of us, I was so mad at her that the girls wanted to stay together in the picture. They're all super short, and I'm huge, and they want to make me go in the back.
I'm massive.
Calm the fuck down. And I'm a beast, dude.
Compared to them. For Brazil, I'm big. And then I was like so mad at them because I was fine because I was jealous essentially, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna stay in the middle of you girls. It's just gonna be
you were gonna
just small
them?
girls and me in the middle of y'all. And they're like, no, don't do that. And I did it, and our group picture is just me.
You
really
being
mad.
petty. Oh.
And that's just a reminder for the rest of my life of how petty I was as a teen.
Could have had
That's
each one
good.
sit on each of your shoulders.
Yeah, the Schwarzenegger pose. Just like, because he was a huge. He was a beast, dude. He could have.
But anyways, back to your high school days. Are we getting into
first
how you
period? Yeah.
burn the building?
So, you want to go? You want to go back a few steps?
No. Let's.
We're so derailed, man.
Yeah.
Remember, as I've stated to you prior to starting, I was diagnosed with attention deficit
disorder.
hyperactivity disorder. So I get very fluttery with topics. So
Same here,
if
bro.
my brain is always hopping around.
My only job on this podcast is to keep people on track.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's fine.
Okay, so we're good.
Yeah. So first period, you got like kicked out of.
So I got kicked out of yearbook class. Now I have an
Yearbook
empty period, and where I don't have class.
Oh, so you have to be at school but no class.
I have to be at class.
Okay.
All right, I'm sorry. I have to be at school, in the building.
Right.
But where I go is up to me now.
Oh.
So I utilize this time by shadowing my friends in their classes. Basically, I just show up and sit there in the back of the class. People would be like, "Who's that in the back?" And I would act like a foreign exchange student or someone's
hilarious.
cousin or somebody interested in transferring into school.
I imagine it was like a big school then.
It was a huge school.
For someone to not recognize, you.
Yeah. My graduating class was at least 1,000 kids.
What?
Wow.
Yeah. So
All right.
Mine was like 200, I think.
Yeah,
But that's so funny to be a
mine
different
too.
person each period. Like, who's that at the back? Yes, I come from Germany. And then in the next one, you're
good, yeah.
You could put German off.
For sure. Yeah.
I get it a lot. I'm a third German blood, so a lot of Germans come up to me. Actually, I saw this, and
Oh, you were excited?
I thought of Oktoberfest.
Oh, yeah.
And this was the first tent that I went into was Paulaner.
Paulaner. Huge
Nice.
company.
Paulana.
You know, in Brazil, south of Brazil, they have allegedly the second biggest Oktoberfest in the world.
Is it huge?
It is.
It should be, right? Dude, Oktoberfest honestly is such a debauchery-filled party. It's just people doing coke and peeing on their tables.
Yeah.
It is. I thought it was going to be more like celebrating beer and the art of beer.
No.
And it's just German people looking at boobs.
Yes.
And doing coke.
Yes.
And just peeing on themselves.
Yes.
It's wild, dude.
I went to Oktoberfest.
And they rule Europe. It's
I went
wild.
to Oktoberfest in the Wiesing Center, like 2 years ago, and it was actually so much fucking fun. They had the long tables, and then you can go and get your like liter of German beer.
Yeah.
And that beer is so tasty too. It's like creamy and stuff. I like the creamy beers.
Creamy.
Yeah. And it's just people getting, and then they ruined it by playing just like reggae at the end, and everyone just like started. Yeah.
It is Spain.
Yeah.
What you gonna do? Yeah.
All right, back to your story.
Okay, first period.
we're moving on from this story eventually. Let's go.
All right, so I'm kicked out of yearbook. I'm shadowing classes. This is my day-to-day routine. And I specifically preyed on substitute teachers because occasionally somebody would recognize me, but a substitute,
right?
No,
and they have no authority. So even if I've seen you before, you're like, no, you haven't. Yeah.
No, have you really?
Have you really?
And so I show up to one class. My friend Jeff is in, and I'm sitting in the back, and I wait for roll call. So I specifically look for people who didn't show up that day, and I assume their alias. And then I act like a shithead. And when they come back to school the next day, they get in trouble.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So you had a whole system too.
I had it down.
Like,
I had it down.
An ADHD like ridden teenager, you're so systematic about ruining people's lives. It's
the one thing I could focus on was
debauchery.
Thank you. So one day,
tomfoolery.
I'm shadowing a friend in a class, and they're going through roll call, and they say a name, Jeremy Sebastian, and look around, raise my hand, and then a girl's voice from behind goes like, "That's not Jeremy. That's Darby Shaw. He always does this stuff."
Oh.
And I look back like, "Bitch, what are you doing?" And so I stand up. She blew my cover. I stand up and I start trying to finagle my way to the door. And the substitute was a pretty big dude.
Yeah.
Blocks my exit. And now I'm like, oh fuck, I gotta escape. Well, I turn around behind me and there's some windows. I run. One of the windows is open, and I dive through the window.
Yeah.
Didn't know what was out there.
What floor was this?
Yeah.
Well, so at the time I didn't know.
Okay.
At the time I didn't know. This high school was 4 floors tall.
Okay.
That's crazy.
And I dove through it.
You didn't know? You just jumped.
Didn't know.
And hoped for the
Didn't
best.
know. This was my MO back then. Just reckless.
Wait, your MO was Jesus, take the wheel.
You know what? Just to connect back to were you on Ritalin at this point in time?
Adderall. And yes, I was.
Oh, so it was.
There you go.
Have you guys seen the movie?
It was the drugs.
Wanted?
It wasn't me. It was the drugs.
Have you guys seen the movie Wanted?
Yeah.
Like with Angelina Jolie.
Bending the bullets.
Yeah, no, when they get like.
Yeah.
That was you probably.
Probably.
They just hyper focus and you're like.
I could curve bullets.
Yeah,
Also,
yeah.
of course.
Curved paper planes at this point still.
So I dove out the window. Luckily, there was a rooftop that I landed on, and now I'm just out there on the rooftop, and somebody shuts the window behind me.
Oh.
So now there's nowhere to go. I could jump off the roof. I'm on the second floor. I could jump. It's kind of a high fall.
That's a big fall, yeah.
So I end up just running up and down the rooftop, screaming my head off. Okay?
Why?
What were you screaming? Like?
Just, just random shit.
I'm not Darby Shaw.
Racial slurs.
I was kind of one of my earlier gags when I was like 9 years old. I would just run into random classrooms and I would scream, "Mortal Kombat!"
Hilarious.
So,
That honestly, if somebody interrupted algebra with that, I'd be like, "Yeah, that's good. That's a good bit." Yeah,
that's a good
bit. I got you.
Nice one, dude.
That guy has a future in comedy. That guy knows what.
That guy will be an open mic.
Yeah,
for sure.
So eventually somebody opens a window. I dive back in and I escape, and that's it. Now I go back to my regular classes, and I'm in like 7th or 8th period, and the school security squad, they come for me.
Security squad.
Yeah. So
SSS.
Well, it is the U.S., so they were probably armed to the tits. Like, it was no joke, right?
So
Really?
no, these guys actually at my school, like I said, it was big, but it was also a bit ghetto. because it was on the border. It was so I'm from a place called Oak Park, and as I mentioned earlier, Oak Park was a township of Chicago when I was born.
Yeah.
Right.
Is that close to Oakland?
That's in California, dude.
California, brother.
Is it?
You were very far off. It's fine.
Yeah.
Darby, go on with your story.
Continue.
So, but then it became the first suburb outside of Chicago. However,
Yep, right.
it shares that border with Chicago. There's a street called Austin Avenue. Austin is some hood shit.
Yeah.
We used to
Okay.
go there after school. We'd go to the Tip, basically a slum.
Okay.
And we buy little dime bags of weed.
Okay.
Very nice.
So
Very nice, you said.
Well,
very nice.
Well,
Very nice.
it is the
Yeah.
move after school.
It's
Support
Of course,
local
of course.
businesses.
So, what was I saying? So basically, the school security majority of them were ex-prison guards
Yeah.
or, something
That's crazy.
Right.
akin.
Ex-criminals. Like either
Ex-criminals.
or. Yeah.
Same
Except
line of work.
we had one school security guard. She didn't really fit this model. She was probably 75 years old. Her name was Marge, and she looked like Ric Flair, the wrestler.
Really?
So everyone called her Ric Flair.
That's awesome.
Hilarious.
Yeah. But anyways, school security comes for me. It's like 7th or 8th period. They take me to the Dean of Discipline's office. Dean Perna, his name was. He knew me all too well, my shtick.
Yeah.
And he's basically like, all right, so Darby, normally I'd get an in-school suspension or a detention, something like this. Now he's got a piece of paper
Yeah.
with a pen. Pushes it in my direction. He says, sign it. I'm like, what is it? He said, it's a behavioral contract. I said, I'm not signing that. He said, sign it.
Really?
Wow.
And I'm like, all right, so I always get in trouble. Like, what makes this any worse? Running on a roof, that's not a crime.
Yeah.
It's a free country, all this shit. And he says, well, when you were running around screaming your head off like a jackass,
Yeah.
he said you ran past the teacher's lounge where are the superintendent,
Oh, wow.
basically the final boss of the entire school.
Yeah. We've seen The Simpsons. Yeah.
Okay. Was she, getting her morning bagel or whatever. And she
Fucking
saw you and
bitch.
she said, who was that crazy
Yeah.
autistic child
German kid.
running around?
German guy.
So he's like, I got to do something.
Yeah.
And all right, so what does this contract entail? He says, so basically the next time you get in trouble, you're kicked out of school.
Fuck.
Oh, it was an ultimatum.
It was an ultimatum.
Yeah.
It was an ultimatum. And this was I want to say we had quarters. It was like 9 weeks a quarter.
Yeah.
So this was the start of the last quarter, which means we had 9-10 weeks left of school.
So I had like 3 months still. Right.
Something like that.
Fuck
Okay.
up.
Yeah.
This, to me, felt like the death knell, the end of me. I'm like,
Yeah.
there's no way I can do this. I'm like, I'm not signing this. He said, well, then you're out. I'm
3
like,
months of no Mortal Kombat. I can't do that, man. That's too much, man.
3 months of no tomfoolery?
no well, not getting caught for the tomfoolery.
Exactly.
Oh, important
Basically.
distinction. Yes.
Yes. So I sign it, and I somehow survive 1 week without getting in trouble.
Awesome.
Go second week, a third week, a fourth week. I'm halfway there. I'm like,
Almost
I
done.
can actually do this.
Yeah.
We get to week 8, and some kid in my Japanese class was talking shit and whatever. And I kind of got in his face, he got in my face, and I would have hit him.
Were you still speaking Japanese? This would have been so funny. If the teacher was like, okay, I'll allow it. It's perfect grammar. I mean,
They go like,
she's like an anime. She's like unsheathing a sword.
We're charging up,
they're each having like internal monologues in their head.
Yeah, it's stopping every 2 seconds.
He's unlocked my trap card.
But in reality, you're just standing still and everyone's just looking at two guys looking at each other for like
you
20
realized
minutes.
I'm on drugs.
Yeah.
Okay. They were
were
having an anime standoff.
They
with
were
a
both
kid.
on Adderall, just out of their minds thinking they were in an anime.
And so it ends. I know I can't get physical with this guy, so I grabbed a water bottle out of some passerby's backpack, and I open it, and I squirt this kid in the face. I just
That's mild.
douse him.
Yeah,
Just
that's okay.
bam.
I mean, that's a good move. Yeah.
Yeah.
Resourceful.
Pretty good, I thought. And so, go back to class, just everyday business. And then I want to say like the last period of the day, school security comes back for me.
The kid doesn't retaliate, by the way?
Kid doesn't retaliate.
He gets wet and he...
In the moment, the kid doesn't retaliate.
A lot of inner dialogue, but no, actually.
He knows water is my weakness. I haven't showered in 4 weeks.
So I get called back to Dean Perna's office, Dean of Discipline, and as I'm walking in there, I'm as cool as a cucumber. I'm like, oh, dude, what could this possibly be about? You know? And as I walk in, I see the dean and I see the kid that I squirted sitting there, just liquidating himself in tears. Just, and I'm like, oh, and I immediately lunged at him. It was my first instinct. I didn't grab him or anything, but I was like, what did you do? What did you do?
In like Japanese.
This.
Wow.
And,
Oh my god.
But that's a dork move because you guys were actually having like a fight, and then he just went pussy mode and just
full pussy mode.
He lost
full pussy
by
mode.
getting wet.
Yeah.
And then he was like, "This is too much." Like this. Honestly, yeah, bitch move. But
you know, he got me. In the end, he got me. So now I'm sitting there in front of the dean of discipline, and he's like, "All right, well," he's like, "Darby, we're gonna send you to in-school suspension while we figure out what to do with you." And I'm like, "Oh fuck." So it's now the last week of school, week 9, week 10, whatever. I go to in-school ISS. It's run by this white lady named Deb. She's got bad acne, bad attitude. White. Oh, yeah. Well, my school was very black.
Very black.
Very black,
but
very white.
That didn't breach the contract, by the way. So that was mild misbehavior for them?
I think we're getting there.
Okay.
Never fully revealed. This was just kind of like, I mean, in my mind, it's like water. You know, if I throw water at you, you know, you're not going to
trouble for your
water dries.
Yeah.
So
that's dry.
So I show up to in school, and I'm there on a Monday, I'm there on a Tuesday, I'm there on a Wednesday, I'm there on a Thursday. Now it's the last 2 days of school of my senior year of high school. So I'm 2 days away from graduating. So it's Thursday. I go there the entire day, and then I'm like, are they gonna fucking kick me out of school or what?
Yeah.
If so, I don't need to be here, right?
Yeah, right. You're living with uncertainty. Yeah.
Exactly. So the last day of school, I just go back to all my regular classes. All right. Security never comes for me. People were like, "Hey, where were you?" I'm like, "I was just hanging out," and that's it. That's it. Finished the day out. School's done, and the only thing standing between me now is graduation.
Yeah.
Right.
So I want to say graduation was like a week later, the ceremony. They have it in the field house in my high school. And I show up a little late for whatever reason. And I go to sit in my seat, and there's somebody in my seat. And I know it because I'm right behind the guy I had been sitting behind.
It's alphabetical order, right?
Alphabetical.
So, yeah.
So there was a guy that had been in my class since like 3rd grade. And I was always next to this guy.
Right.
You know? So I go to sit next to him. There's a guy in my spot. I'm like, "You're in my seat, buddy." He's like, "No, I'm not." I'm like, "Come on, let's go. Let's
and
go.
I'm not your buddy.
You want me to squirt you, baby?
Yeah. You want me to sit on your lap? Come on." So I end up getting this guy to scoot over, which in turn makes the entire. So this is the S,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, it's a domino effect.
Yeah.
Biggest, So everyone in 40 rows behind us is all scooting over now.
From Smith to
Like this.
salad or whatever the fuck.
Exactly.
Everybody's,
So
From Smith to salad.
What's a surname with a C, dude?
From apple bottom to zebra. I don't know.
So
Salad. Dude, just
salad.
leave it. Go on with
But
the story.
that's not the point. The point is that it wouldn't be that many people because it's only the same letters. Smith and it's still an S.
It's just the S?
No, but never mind.
Continue.
Yeah.
I would love to meet somebody with the last name Salad.
Yeah.
That would be. Have you? Have any of you?
Not really.
think
Like
it is a name, though.
Spain does get very Catholic surnames, but never something like that. Over.
What are you saying though? Salad? Like
No, zealot, like a religious zealot.
Oh.
Oh, that wasn't clear.
Zealot. Okay.
Oh, yeah. S
Zealot.
to C was the thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
This makes
My
more
bad.
sense.
zebra was right there, dude.
I don't know.
Zealot. Oh my god.
I don't know, dude. I'm just being
even-
like poetic with my words.
I know. You're right.
He's a poet, all right?
Yeah.
I'm a poet
Let's
at
get off.
heart. Yeah. all my jokes are dick jokes, but I'm a poet at heart.
I just want to say, is anyone else like fucking melting right now? It's really hot. Is it?
What?
Is it just me?
Oh yeah, just take your sweater off on camera.
I'm
Yeah.
melting, but I'm also lactating from my nipples. So
Hell yeah.
I don't think that's a
Appropriate.
symptom of heat in the room. That's
Are you
just-
guys hot? Are you guys
I mean,
warm?
now that he's mentioned it, I do. But
I can open a window if you guys
You wanna
Open
crack
the
a window?
window.
To the window.
Careful, I might jump out of it.
All right.
I'll tackle you. Don't worry.
So you make all the salads move their seats.
So make all the salads. move
Mary
their
salad
seats.
moves.
And do we have more of these?
We do have more beer.
I actually just want to have one.
I can get you a normal beer, like a nice.
Yeah, get him in a
Yeah,
normal.
so-
Whenever,
yeah.
whenever.
It's fine. We do this all the time.
Okay.
It can be now, but is extremely hangover, so
I mean, he's
not
getting better.
talking a lot.
I did not go out last night. This is how much.
for this?
For this.
Wow.
For this,
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
I was actually thinking while you were talking, you're a great storyteller, dude.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
That is
thank
true.
you.
Yeah, I was
Thank
noticing
you.
that too. Yeah.
It's
Congratulations.
you know,
I don't know.
I'm sure we'll talk about like
Can I have one?
comedy more
At some
later.
point, yeah.
You know, I don't think. Luckily, Madrid has given me a platform where I can go and do open mics regularly.
Oh, that
Yeah.
was Madrid. You
That was
started
Madrid.
comedy in Madrid.
Hey guys, before we get off topic, could you just finish quickly
Yes.
the graduation story?
Yes.
Yeah, I really want to know.
Quickly, I don't know about
Is
that.
this
but
gonna
I
end
will.
in fire eventually?
No. Fire was the prequel.
We might
Oh.
get there. We might get there.
Okay, so
you're-
basically all
he
the
has to
people scoot over, all the
yeah.
salads, all the
Scoot
hot
over.
dogs, they all scoot over.
Yep.
And now I'm sitting there and I'm watching this ceremony go on, and it's, you know, high school graduation ceremony. I don't know what you guys do, but
Similar thing.
similar thing. So they go through, there might have been a special guest, something like that, and then they get to the part that matters where they give you the diploma.
Yes.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
you
something that
shake,
says,
like,
I'm out of this
everyone's
shithole.
hands, yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
So the guy who's
They give Dobby a sock, essentially.
a crusty jizz sock,
A crunchy sock.
which I asked for, by the way. So the one the person whose hand you shake was your dean. So everyone had there was the dean of discipline. There was your personal dean who was supposed to like
You choose your dean?
no.
And then there was just a guy named Dean too. He's like,
was
He's just a chill
There's
guy.
Dean,
He's
like-
just there, dude.
he's just a chill guy.
Yeah, he's chilling. Dean's like, I know you can make it, dude. I believed in you the entire time. He's just working a Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah, he just goes like this. Gives you the guns.
Dean
Everybody
sa-
loves Dean.
Yeah. I really want to say this. Dean salad. All right, that's it.
It was necessary. It was super
No, thank
necessary.
you.
Yeah.
Necessary.
Thanks for sharing that.
Cherry on
All right.
top.
Thank you for sharing that.
Can I just say, finish the story because
Okay,
you have so many
yeah,
other
yeah,
stories
yeah, yeah.
that I
Keep
don't want to
them in
get
your
to.
head. Keep them in your
This is
head.
the ADHD.
yeah.
All right, here's the end.
I feel like I'm Adderall right now.
So my dean was
Yeah.
a guy named Dean Seaplek. All right, he was about 1 million years old. The guy was a fucking fossil, and just turned out he was retiring after this year.
Oh.
Okay. He was totally old school, by the books. You know, if there was a assembly or something, you would ditch. You would just fucking, I don't need to see this. You would
Yeah.
leave, and then you would sneak back into the high school, big high school. But there were only 2 exits you could get back into. And my dean was the only one who would do this. He would stand at either of the 2 entryways, and he would write detention slips
Oh,
to
50-50.
his whatever 100, 200 students. Who, whatever. Whichever entrance I chose, this A or B, he was always at the one that I chose. And he always had a detention slip pre-filled out in my name.
Oh, fuck.
He'd be like, Mr. Shaw?
What an honor.
Like that. I'm like, fuck.
Fuck.
So he was always one step up on me.
Right.
Anyways, graduation day. He starts reading out the names. There's a line in the side aisle. As I'm getting closer to having my name called, I start sweating a little bit. I'm getting anxious. I'm kind of like, I don't know what the fuck's about to happen.
Right.
I'm now one person away. There's a guy in front of me. He gets called, and Dean Seaplek, he looks up and he sees me and we lock eyes, and there's like a look of confusion I can sense in his eyes.
You moan?
I moaned. I had been moaning, to be fair.
Yeah.
And then he looks back at his big stack of diplomas, and he looked back at me, and then there was this like this moment of silence, very palpable. You know, it was just like very awkward.
Yeah.
And he just kind of leaned into the microphone and he goes like, Darby Shaw. And I fucking jump up. I leapt up in joy. I went, woo! And I went running down the aisle, and I get to Dean Seaplek. He goes to shake my hand. I pick him up. I swing him around.
Unnecessary.
Wow. What are you, a sailor coming home from war? What the fuck? Did you kiss him too? Like, I knew it.
Yeah.
And
this is all a farce, though.
And as I hold him, as I embrace him, he leans into my ear,
Licks it.
and he goes, he says,
A little nibble.
he says, I don't have a diploma for you. He says, I'll mail one home in 2 weeks.
Oh.
They don't want to see you back here another year. Now go on, get the fuck out of here.
Holy shit.
Fuck.
What
So,
an ending.
While he was up in the air, he was like, by the way.
Floating around in his arms.
Arms out.
You're not graduating.
Speaks in Japanese. Man.
Omae wa mo shinderu.
So, pretty good.
Yeah, anime.
Yeah, you're already dead.
Yeah.
So basically, what that meant was that I was not graduated. They didn't want me to graduate. They were going to hold me back a year.
Yeah.
So I didn't have the diploma. So I'm on cloud nine. I'm like skipping around, and I turn back around to go back to my seat down the center aisle, and right in the middle of my lane is the superintendent of the school.
Fuck.
The bitch who, the whole reason why I was
In that
about to
situation,
not graduate. And I see her, and she sees me, and we lock eyes, and I'm like 2 feet in front of her, and I can see there's no look of recognition in her eyes. And
Like,
again,
she doesn't know who you are, or what do you mean?
well, she didn't know me as the guy that was running on the roof.
Ah, okay.
Right.
You know, so my ADHD is acting up. I don't know how to deal with it, and I reach out and I grab her around the waist.
Oh no.
And a little bony, 66-year-old woman, Dr. Bridge, her name was.
Darby, what the fuck?
Why would you do that?
Why is that your go-to move?
You were out. You did it. You had it.
I know.
I was rooting for you.
You think you know a guy. And he grabs bony old ladies.
Yeah, and he just Olympic lifts. Just an old lady. Like, snatches her. Fucking, what? I'm out, right? I'm out.
And I ended up lifting her up like a fucking Lion King,
cheerleader,
Hakuna Matata, Rafiki holding up baby Simba, and I'm holding her up, and we're still gazing at each other's eyes, and she just has this little look in her eyes.
Really?
And I just
She was upset.
she wasn't upset.
She was like, I haven't been held in 20 years. She was
well, I hadn't begun choking her yet, but I held her up,
Yet?
and we just there's that moment, and I decide, you know what, I should probably get out of here as inconspicuously as possible.
Yeah.
So I put her in a bear hug, and I swing her around 3 or 4 times, put her back on the ground, return to my seat,
So
and
you
that's
salad spinner. That's
it.
your move.
Salad
like,
spinner. The old salad spinner.
You graduated? That's it?
And that was it. I graduated.
Holy shit.
So, I think there we go. Did
That
we finish
deserves
the
a
story?
clap. Yeah.
Dude,
I
that was
thought-
wild. Did nobody? Yeah.
Sorry about that,
Great
guys.
story. No, great story.
Shit.
But did you
Whoa,
get
what
no
a trip,
consequences
dude.
by picking 2 people up in the air? It's like, are just like, no, that's his thing. That's like, he's a picker-upper. He's a
People knew, I don't want to say like I had a reputation, but
For picking people up?
I had a reputation.
Okay.
Yeah, for picking people up,
Yeah.
squirting water in their faces.
You were close to not graduating. Like, if you hold her for 1 second longer,
she was,
I feel
like in the
you
air,
would,
like, wait, rooftop guy?
Yeah.
Is that him?
I thought you didn't graduate. I thought you started the story with saying you didn't graduate high school.
So I didn't. I did not. They would have held me back, but my dean, Seaplek, bless his. He's probably dead now. His soul. This guy mailed me the diploma.
Oh, so you got your diploma?
I got my diploma and I moved on.
Oh, hell yeah!
Like he didn't formally graduate, but they just
they didn't want to deal with you another year.
Yeah, it was just like I need this guy out of here.
Yeah.
Were your grades okay or no?
So
I feel like no.
It'd be so wild. He was like, yeah, A+, like all around.
Because again, you're like a smart, like you're articulate. Your videos, you're good at editing. Like I can see you're like you work hard for stuff. So I imagine you kind of were you bad at certain classes and the others like it was easy for you?
I'll say this, and I'll try and differentiate between the two words. I'm not smart. I'm not smart by any means, but I'm clever.
All right,
brother.
So,
he got kicked out of yearbook class.
Out of yearbook.
You're asking if he has straight A's. He got kicked out of yearbook class.
That's just my point. Because like I would suck at geography class because I don't care about it. But then I would do okay at physics and math,
Yeah.
But I would get zeros in geography because they would ask me read this paragraph.
Well, yeah, you did say is Oakland next to Chicago, so I kind of see that happening.
Goddamn. I would have. Okay, Victor. Damn, that's just.
Well, geography's tough.
Yeah.
Geography's tough, and I
I
will
don't
say
care about geography. But okay,
well,
You're in Spain right now.
wait, but I feel like I really want to talk about why are you here? First of all, why are you in Spain? Because your upbringing is definitely wild, but what's wilder is how you are traveling the world. Just
maybe
casually
chronological. How do you get out of Chicago?
No one will keep him. He's such a menace to society. The high school's like, no, that's someone else's problem.
Honestly, dude, like, so for people that don't know, and I want to say this to the listeners, his YouTube channel, he has like a vlog for his travels, and there are videos that are like really interesting, like Japan videos. There's South Korea. Mm-hmm. You went to like countries in Africa, dude. Like you hiked in Africa, which is really interesting. And one thing that I want to congratulate you on is that you are the same person in every video with everyone. You know what I mean? Like you don't like you're yourself, and it's easy to watch your videos.
You pick all of them up the same way. You just grab them by the waist and you spin them around. Dude.
Even if it's like a 7 foot tall man, he tries.
Yeah. A sumo wrestler in Japan, he's like, I gotta, man. I gotta.
Ooh,
like
I am friends with, by the way, the heaviest Japanese sumo wrestler in the world.
Oh, fuck no.
Yeah, are you for real? That's
for real. So cool. His name's Yama. Shout out to Yama.
Means mountain, right?
And currently like a professional wrestler? Or?
So there was some, I don't want to speculate, but he was basically kicked out of sumo wrestling for whatever reason.
For picking people up.
I think that's how you
for
win,
eating
actually.
them.
I think that's good in that context. Yeah.
And then he moved to Los Angeles where I met him, and he became like a Hollywood star.
Holy shit.
He started doing commercials.
Awesome.
He's in, if you want to see him, he's in the Ed Sheeran video, Shape of You.
He has the fake sumo wrestling.
Fake sumo, but there's a real sumo at the end of the video. That's Yama.
What a random piece of information.
He's the man, by the way. He's the man.
That's what I mean. Like, you have an amazing life after that, right?
Yeah. Well, to go back to your original question, how did I get on this path of travel?
Yeah.
I can probably point to Japan for being responsible for this.
Mm-hmm. First off, like that was the first trip?
That was the first trip. Technically, the first trip might have been Mexico.
All right.
I'd gone to Cancun.
As you do.
Yeah, but just like tourism.
Like spring break, something like that?
Spring break.
Yeah.
But I was 15. I was with my mom and dad who were off banging somewhere, and my 3 little sisters who were playing with dolls.
Yeah.
And I'm out there.
I was so scared for that second time. I was so fucking
I think we all were.
Yeah, dude. Fuck.
I get it. Like
little sisters are out there changing the videotape on the banging.
Look at the whole production team.
Yeah. Well, your first solo trip.
My sister was directing.
First solo trip to Japan, and it was I went with my high school class. So,
okay.
Because you were in Japanese class.
I was in Japanese class.
Right.
So in the U.S., you have to take 2 years of a foreign language.
Mm-hmm.
I took my 2, and I was done. I'm like, I didn't learn shit. This is too hard. You know, I liked certain things about the culture. I liked video games. I liked Nintendo and whatnot. But I got invited on a class trip, which you would only be invited on if the sensei, the teacher, if she liked you. That's the only way you pass the class.
Did you have to call her sensei?
Sensei. Yeah, sensei. That's all we knew her as, sensei.
Because I think that's just a word for teacher.
No, it literally means teacher, and senpai is master or something?
No, senpai means someone above you.
Oh,
right?
just anyone above you?
Yeah. Senpai and kohai is somebody below you.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I go to Japan. I'm there for 10 days. It's we're in Kyoto, the old capital, for 8 days.
Yeah.
Great place. And then Tokyo for 2 days.
Also, this uses the same letters as Tokyo. There's like a trivia question about that. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Trivia master.
Is Kyoto
always
awesome?
goes back to trivia.
I really want to go to Kyoto because they say it's like the old Japan. You know.
Yeah.
It's like
have you guys been to Japan?
Never. I wish.
Asia? Anywhere in Asia?
Well, I've been to Vietnam this summer.
Right.
Yeah.
Vietnam's cool. Did you like
Vietnam's
it?
pretty cool. It was really good. Like the people were super nice. Everything was beautiful. Like the jungle is just like it's just jungle. Like you
Thick
go like
jungle,
no, like it's not even outside the city. You can see how the city was built in the jungle.
Inside the jungle.
Overflowing. Yeah. There's just monkeys smoking cigarettes, like reading the paper. It's wild.
I went to Delhi 2 years ago. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
How was that?
It was a lot of fun. I went for a wedding. Delhi
Indian wedding?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
No, it was amazing. Delhi was a bit of a culture shock. Probably like one of the few culture shocks that I really felt because it's just like the city is insane. And like I'm used to Mexico City, so I was always comparing it to that, but it wasn't even comparable. It was just like too much. Also, recently it's been so smoggy or like polluted. It's the most polluted city in the world right now. Yeah.
I can
horrible
see that,
reports.
Yeah.
I didn't like it. The city. I had an amazing time because of the wedding, but Delhi as a city. I don't think I can handle that city.
If you're comparing like Madrid to Delhi, that's a wild comparison.
We also did go to Goa, which is like an amazing, beautiful beach town. So.
I heard of it. Yeah.
Did you go to any Goa? What are they? Trance parties out there?
No, it was actually very.
Have you been to Goa?
No, I have not been to India. I've not been to India, and as a traveler, I of course want to go, but India seems like a place that you would need to spend like maybe a month there.
Absolutely.
You know?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
So, what the fuck was I talking about?
How you got to Japan?
Your first, yeah.
So I go to Japan. I don't know why this popped in my head, but like I said, I'm an open book. I had this problem at the time where I had never been out of my house for so long. And I couldn't poop anywhere that wasn't my house.
Oh.
Right?
Oh, yeah, people get that. Yeah.
So I don't know if it's, there's shy bladder. I don't know if shy butthole.
I get the shy bladder, dude. One thing that's very common in Spain is where you're at the urinal and other people just talk to you. Like they're like, hey, what's up? And I'm like, don't. Really, don't. Like, I'm going to be here the entire day if you start talking to me.
No, I'm a shy peer for sure. I'm a super shy peer.
I was a shy peer, but I stopped being a shy peer. I was never a shy pooper. I went to Disneyland.
So jealous.
Dude, I'm not a shy pooper either, but I'm a shy peer.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I mean, because you never poop in public. Like, it's a different thing.
I poop in public all the time. I have no problem. I'll go poop
and you had a bad time in Delhi.
That's why I went to India. That's why I went to India.
Exactly.
Dude, but like I've literally gone to urinals and I've whipped my dick out and then a guy comes next to me. I'm like, fuck. Put my dick back in. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, you ruined it. Yeah, for sure. I get that too. And then I just don't want to be a weirdo with his dick out, not peeing, because then you're just like a perv or something. You're just like
I don't want to
holding
be standing there in an awkward silence, like, please start peeing. Please start.
I don't know what my fear is. I don't know if someone's gonna go in the bathroom and be like, he's just holding his dick. He's weird. I don't know what.
I feel like everyone's gonna know. And like,
That's such the guy's gonna be like, wait, I'm not hearing anything.
I just checking.
Yeah.
I've found a technique because I'm also shy peer, but I found certain techniques that help alleviate this.
Yeah.
To start peeing, and one is if I'm talking. So even if if I'm not talking to the guy next to me, but I'm just talking.
Yeah.
Or whistling or singing a song or something, so that there's some
get yourself outside of your head. Yeah, for sure.
And then I can start, and then I can
get it going.
Yeah, dude. Dude, I talk shit to myself when I can't pee. It's so bad.
Me too.
I'm like, you fucking pussy. You can't even pee.
What, you shy about
you piece of shit.
Yeah.
I just bully myself into peeing. It's horrible.
This is your big moment.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Your entire life, dude. What the fuck?
I think that's normal. What is not normal is not to be shy at all. Like to just go for the bathroom.
I have a friend like that, and it's wild.
No matter who's there, you just
no, and like party, like a very common thing in Spain is like barrio parties, where like it's just like a big cookout, and then people are drinking, and it's normally at parks.
Yeah.
So like generally men pee in like bushes or whatever. And I remember I was talking to my friend. We were near a bush and continued the conversation. At no point said, "By the way, I'm gonna pee."
Yeah.
He just kept talking, and then like an owl. As he was talking, he was peeing, and I was like, "Dude,
what are you doing, dude?"
Actually, I think bushes help me. I think if it's a more natural setting, I'm less of a shy peer.
I know why. It's because probably when you're peeing in a bush, you're drunk. And that helps.
That also
That
is totally accurate. Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
You're not wrong.
It's the
That makes
alcohol, it's not
sense.
the bush.
What would you say is the hardest place you ever peed in? Because I have a story about this, but I want to know
The old Atletico Madrid stadium.
Calderon. Yeah.
The stalls there are like literally a centimeter apart, and there's like 20 of them in a row.
Fuck.
Oh.
I just couldn't. I did the thing where like I forced it and it hurts, and I was like, "That's bad for you." When you try to like really force it out, I was like, "No, I can't."
Again, I'm not a huge shy peer, but whenever there's like those like thingies they pee on that goes all the way to the ground,
Yeah.
those make no sense to me because it just feels like I'm pissing on the floor.
The big stalls, you're just pissing, yeah.
Yeah, you know those things that go straight out to the ground.
Yeah. It's I know like the bucket thing is called a trough.
The
So-
trough is fine,
I
but
can't do the trough.
No?
No, the trough is
sucks,
tough.
man.
Yeah,
The trough
sure.
sucks.
I need dividers.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah, I
okay.
need privacy. I don't know. I don't want anybody knowing what my dick looks like. Like
Yeah.
I need that privacy because that's like I think the fear generally is like dick shyness.
Yeah.
I
Like,
don't think so.
You don't think so? I think that is it.
I think it's a maybe. I haven't like deep
Dick
dived into
shyness?
my mind about why I feel this way. Maybe it is dick shyness, but
dick shyness for sure, but it's also the masculine thing of like this guy's pissing, I'm not peeing, like he's gonna think I'm gay. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know about that.
it's not the. It's the reverse psychology of like he's just here to pee. I don't want
to
him
have
to
like
think.
an anime face off, and you're both. He thinks I'm not peeing. He's activated my drive card. Fuck. I'm gonna start doing noises.
I don't want the guy to think that I'm here to look at dicks. You know what I mean?
No. It's
Oh,
more-
you just reminded me of something.
Yeah.
When I was like 19, I went to pee in the bathroom in the mall.
Mm-hmm.
My friend was waiting for me outside and was just pissing. And this guy that looked like really drunk or drugged out of his mind, I don't know, but he looked fucked up. He stand next to me in the urinal, and the nightmare scenario happened where he just looks at me and said, "Can I suck it?"
What?
Yeah, and I was like, "No," and my reaction was like, "No, what are you talking about?" And it was like, "Just real quick, can I suck it?" And I'm like, "Dude, no!" And then I finish and then
As like a
spit it
quick
out.
favor, he's like,
Yeah.
be cool.
Yeah.
What the
you
fuck?
finished what? You finished peeing or?
Maybe that's why he
Yeah, you
asked
had a
me.
little motion there.
Yeah.
What did you
Maybe
finish?
he was jerking up, and the guy's like, "You'll finish quick."
Yeah.
Like I'm really good with it.
I was already jerking off. Yeah. And then I went out of the bathroom and I didn't mention anything to my friend because I was in it like, what do you say to that?
Yeah. Like
I just kept
that was
that
really
in.
weird. Like
Yeah.
I'm traumatized. I think
This is where your
Yeah.
homophobia stems from.
maybe that's why you think like
I'm not homophobic, dude.
Hey, I think we got to the bottom of it.
Yeah.
I think like he's just scared that the guy next to him in the urinal is gonna be like, "Hey,
Yeah. And it was really weird because he whispered too. It was really like, ugh. It was like, dude, what are you doing to me?
dude, that's
You know?
wild, dude." The story I wanted to get, dude, like the most horrible like nightmarish piss I've ever was in a bus. So I used to play rugby.
A
And we
bus
would have
with the
to-
bathroom attached, or
No, dude.
No bus? No bathroom bus?
Like the thing is, we had to travel around because like we played at a national level, so you had to take the bus to like Sevilla, Malaga, wherever you were playing.
This is
So
rugby.
then- this is rugby.
Okay.
Yeah, this is rugby. So then the bus back, we always drank. Like it was a thing. You get drunk in the bus, whatever. But then because you drink so much alcohol, you have to pee, and the bus doesn't stop. It's just a straight 5-hour trip from like the south to Madrid. So then I remember I was like really holding it in to the point, you know, where your dick hurts, it like physically hurts.
No, yeah.
And I go to like one of my senpais, like one of my older, who's done this trip like a bunch of times. I'm like, "Yo, I really have to pee. What do you guys do for peeing?" And he goes, "Dude, just go to the stairs. Like it's a double decker, so there's stairs." And I go to the stairs, and it's just 2-liter bottles filled with piss.
No way.
And you had to put, but you're drunk. The fucking bus is
my
moving.
God.
And yeah,
What's the hole like? Is it a small hole of the
yeah,
bo- the
barely
small
enough to
holes?
put the tip. And
Oh,
you
No
have to-
problem then.
You're
No problem.
sharing. You're
Yeah,
sharing
small hole.
bottles.
Dude, you're sharing bottles.
Oh.
Like you have to take a half-filled bottle of pee.
Yeah.
Filled with like.
I was gonna
strangest-
judge you,
it's
but
probably
then I
warm,
was
too.
like, if I really need to go, I think
No,
I
it
would
was
do
either that
yeah.
or just like peeing myself, like
Yeah.
because you're drinking like alcohol, like beer, like gin, whatever. So you really have to
Fuck.
go.
Yeah.
So
This is
then you have-
before games or after games?
after. This is like the bag. So it's like 2 a.m. in the morning, like no rest stops are open, and we're just gunning it to Madrid. So I had to like take the bottle filled with piss, like up to the brim,
chug
and
it.
then they'd be like, you know what, I really need to no. But then the thing is, what I didn't realize, like you get your dick in, which is the first hurdle, because everything's moving and you don't want to get splashed with the piss in the bottle. So you get your dick in, but then there's not a lot of space left. So you have to calculate how much you can pee in the bottle.
No, I've peed in my share of bottles. I know what you're talking about.
I peed in a bottle, but
it was so
lot
traumatizing. And the fact that it was like filled, and you could smell them. Like as you went down the stairs, it was like going down into hell.
Yeah, like
every step was
someone had eaten asparagus that day.
You know what? Pissing in the ocean. That's mine. That's the worst place.
That's the easiest thing.
It's not easy.
What a
for me.
loser!
It's not easy. It's not easy for me.
Dude, after this horror story, you're going with pissing in the ocean.
What the fuck?
Dude. Yeah, and I don't know. I used to surf for a while because my dad's a surfer, and I wanted to be like my dad. So I surf miserably because I hated surfing. And I just remember all of my friends was like, "Oh, I'm taking a piss," and I tried to, and I couldn't. Like the ocean makes
took
me
a shit. You were like, "Oh fuck."
Yeah. No, I don't know. The ocean was really hard because it just feels like dangerous to pee in the ocean. I don't know why.
What's gonna happen?
I don't know.
There's a pee fish that's gonna be like, "Oh, he's peeing."
Fish are living in constant fear because they have to pee in the ocean all the time.
Can you imagine?
It's so dangerous.
Yeah, I don't know.
They're like, "I'm actually pee shy." Dies.
Yeah. But I miss surfing actually. It's fun, but it's a lot of work.
Oh, it's very physical. It's way more physical than I expected.
Not just that, but also like just going to the beach, buying a board, and like the whole thing is a.
Well,
big
also
deal,
you live
know?
in Madrid, which is landlocked.
Not easy
that's
to,
gonna
yeah.
make
I didn't realize someone asked this question.
Damn, boy. All right. Why would you?
Oh my god! Pato's getting sassy, dude.
I have to apologize for my demeanor. I'm
Barbara,
very hungover.
You're hungover. Barbara listened to the last episode and she was like, "Pato really hates you."
That's his wife.
Yeah. Anyways, travel.
That was Japan trip. Oh, fuck yeah.
But can I say something?
Your first trip to Japan.
I want to ask you specifically about the video that you got the most views on, which is the Thailand doing mushrooms.
Yes.
I seen that video. Yeah.
Yes.
I want to ask for a specific thing about that video.
Sure.
It seemed like you bought mushrooms, natural mushrooms, from elephant shit.
Yes.
That's wild. You paid for it?
Yeah.
And
it was dirt cheap. It was probably,
I can imagine.
It was probably like 13 euros for like 4 trips worth, you know?
Yeah, it was a huge bag. That's
huge
the start of the video is just him and your friend?
My friend, Puea, we call her. That was her Navi name in the video.
Oh, okay.
Because the whole, we're tripping, we're in Thailand. It feels like we're going to Pandora from fucking Avatar.
I was going to Navi like from Avatar, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's like, it's really fun. Your edits are really comical.
Thank you very much.
Well timed.
Thank you.
Great style as well. And one thing you do well, which is like to set a story for the video. And the video was like, so we have a mission today, which is step 1, buy mushrooms, find mushrooms. Step 2, eat mushrooms. Step 3, go to Pandora. I thought it was funny.
Gotta lay it out, gotta make it simple. I think there's a similar premise in comedy. You want to just kind of be clear about things.
Break down the premise.
No, the premise. Like that's the thing. Chris
beats.
Rock is famous for repeating the premise. And there was this talk called Talking Funny, which if any stand-up is listening to this, go check that out. It's on YouTube. It's Louis C.K., Jerry Seinfeld,
Oh yeah,
Chris
that's
Rock,
a great one. Yeah.
and they're all talking. And Chris Rock says, "You're gonna understand the premise. Like if I have to repeat it 3 times, you're gonna get the premise, and then I'll give you the punchline." And I think that's super important.
That's super important.
Like when you're writing a new joke, something like feels very clear to you. Normally, the biggest problem is people don't quite follow you.
Yeah,
like that's.
And I think the premise of that video, and I got into it because of it. Like it's just a guy tripping on camera, but it's not that. It's like, dude, look at how crazy it is. Like that I'm buying mushrooms naturally. In
it
this
is a
country.
fun premise, though. Like
you make it sound like it's an everyday thing that people just trip out on mushrooms and you're just hanging out, and it makes me like. See, I never done mushrooms, and it made me go through the trip with you. Like it was fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was really well thought out.
And I think this is probably why it had a lot of appeal, at least compared to my other videos,
which were also really funny. I watched the other videos because of that one, but that one has a drug hook. The drugs.
It is like taboo, and it's like, oh, is he really talking about tripping?
Well, so what does that say about humanity?
Exactly.
We have this natural curiosity in things. Probably your I would assume your average person has not tried mushrooms.
Yeah.
So this is kind of, it's not instructional. It's not like, this is how you do it. When you come to Thailand, you got to go to the elephant sanctuary. It's more just like,
your
hey,
experience. Yeah, like your story.
And also
your
a follow
experience.
along, which I think it made it feel safe because you knew like you knew what you were doing. So it was like this adventure thing, but also with a guide, like someone who's like, "Hey, I'm gonna take you through this. It'll be fine. It'll be fun."
Yeah, it almost felt like a anime in a way because it was such a foreign concept to me, but you were living it like it's such a normal thing to do. You know what I mean? So it was natural to follow the video, and it was like interesting, curious to know what would happen.
well, this is a big reason why I like travel, because depending on some what's the word? Some settings, some
circumstances. Or?
I was trying to think of the Spanish word, ambiente.
Oh yeah, the ambience,
vibe?
maybe, or the
Environment.
The vibe, the environment.
Yeah.
It's in some places it is normal. It's just a way of life.
Dude, the lady just handed you a bag full of mushrooms.
Yeah,
and you were like, and it was so casual. Like, we want to buy mushrooms, and then you ask the guy, "Yo, where I can buy mushrooms?" The guy, "Oh, the elephant sanctuary," and you're like, "Okay." You just go to a
get on a motorbike.
Dude, motorbikes
there.
are so fun in Southeast Asia.
Oh
Yeah.
man,
So fun.
Dude, Southeast Asia's. I would recommend to anyone watching this, listening now. That's if you're even the least bit interested in travel, go to Southeast Asia at some point.
For sure.
If I love Japan. Japan's been a big part of my life, but Japan is kind of, if you're new to travel, I don't know if I would recommend.
It's more
Japan
hostile
right away.
for sure. Yeah.
It's not necessarily more hostile, but it's more tailored. Well, it's more expensive, first of all.
Yeah, that's true.
And when you're in Southeast Asia, you can kind of go with the flow. I'm sure you
Yeah.
experienced that in Vietnam.
Yeah, for sure. It's very well made for travel. Like you can book a bus the same day, then you get to like a hostel the same day. You don't have to like plan your trip like to the day. You can just like go there and be like, "Hey, we like this place. We'll stay a couple nights more." And it's like, and it's also a big part of that also is that it's cheap. It's like you're not going to break the bank if you stay a couple days more.
Yeah.
Like Japan is very different.
Yeah, and there's a lot of countries you can go to that are great because they're cheap.
Yeah.
But that's not the single reason you
It's not the
enjoy
only
a place,
appeal for sure.
you know?
Yeah.
So, but then again, on the flip side, some countries you go to, they're expensive, and they suck because they're expensive.
Yeah, for sure.
My least favorite country in the entire world is Switzerland.
Oh, I was gonna say Switzerland.
Well, yeah, you have no
haven't
Nazi
been,
gold.
but-
What's the appeal? What do you have
The
to
Nazi
hide?
gold,
just boring. Right?
Yeah.
I've heard it's just really boring.
It's
Boring?
a business country. Like, there's nothing there for tourists.
For
I
the
feel
baby
like.
moon, we were thinking of either London or somewhere in Switzerland, and we we researched a bit about Switzerland. Nothing caught our attention. It was just like just a bunch of
No,
cities.
people go there to avoid taxes. That's like
Yeah.
I imagine if you want to go like hiking or something like that, it's really good. Though.
Well, mountains,
I don't know.
maybe. Yeah.
skiing, maybe, but like
But rich people shit again.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Rich people
like-
shit. Yeah,
yeah.
it's too expensive to enjoy anything.
Did
Right.
you go to South America or just Colombia?
So I hate to say this, I have not been to your country, but
Brazil,
I've
yeah.
been to every country around
Oh, really?
your country.
That feels
yeah.
intentional.
Yeah.
You were just avoiding.
Oh, Gabriel.
I mean, yeah,
fun, dude.
yeah.
Did you try ayahuasca at some point?
No, and that's the shameful thing. I lived in Peru. I lived in Lima for 6 months.
That's awesome.
And I never tried ayahuasca.
What
And
a
that's
pity. Yeah.
that's kind of for me. I'm kind of a try everything once kind of guy.
Yeah.
And in terms of drugs, I've done a lot.
Yeah.
But ayahuasca is the one that's eluded me.
Yeah.
I would say DMT is the other one.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of the same thing, right? Ayahuasca makes you like secrete DMT, from what I understand, right?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's like
Yo.
just different ways of doing DMT because you can get the pure crystals, which you have to like smoke out of a crock pipe, and then ayahuasca has DMT, but it's like it's spread out more like for over a longer period of time.
More
If
organic.
you smoke straight DMT, it's like 10 minutes.
That's
max,
crazy
you know,
that
like-
it's because it's more organic.
I
Great.
think the Joe Rogan podcast is gonna sue us for this like last 2 minutes.
Yeah.
This is gonna get clipped.
Real quick shout out. There's a documentary on Netflix right now that is really good. It's about indigenous children that get lost in the Amazon forest in I forgot the country.
Brazil, Colombia,
No.
Bolivia.
Venezuela, Bolivia.
No.
Paraguay.
No.
Dude, what else?
Up north.
Amazon. Fuck.
Peru, maybe. I don't know. And they find it because the indigenous people, like the military, try to get into the forest to try to find it. They have all this like setting for like radars and airplanes and whatever. They couldn't find the children because it's a massive forest.
Yeah, the jungle is too big for that.
Yeah, and the indigenous people like team up and they do ayahuasca and they go looking for the children and they find them like immediately
And
after.
they come back. They say, "Did you find the children?" They said, "No, but we found aliens. We sent you to look for the children."
No, for real.
We
like,
come back with God. What
It's
about
this
the kids?
heartwarming story about like indigenous.
But why did
people.
ayahuasca first?
No, not first. That was I spoiled.
Oh, okay.
No, but
We
The kids are
gotta look
dead.
for the kids.
You want to do ayahuasca? Yeah.
no, because
Right.
the military famously doesn't get along with the indigenous people because the indigenous people are like, "Yo, get the fuck away
Right,
from our
it's their
forest."
land,
Yeah, our culture and whatever. And because the children were lost for so long and people were freaking the fuck out as a country, the indigenous people and the military came together to form a plan.
Oh, the military went to the indigenous. They're like, no,
Yes,
yeah,
we-
we had our differences, but
yeah,
Right.
So they got together. They started looking for them together, and eventually they were like about to give up. And the tribe leader was like, "Yo, it's time."
yes, a guy went.
He literally.
I have an
said-
idea.
The phrase
Yes,
he
sir.
said is, "Ayahuasca for us is like nuclear bomb. It's like the last resource. We don't want to do it. No one wants to do it. It sucks.
Well, it's
but
kinda-
it will give us the answer.
The
We know
trip
it
has
will.
to be like very intense, right? Like,
Yeah, he said it's not like a fun trip. Like they chew
Right.
tobacco all the time. They're doing weed all the time. Like they are getting high essentially every day as a tribe.
they're used to drugs. Yeah.
But for ayahuasca, they're like, "Yo, you know what? Let's not even get close to it unless it's extremely necessary."
That's interesting. But like, that's the thing I just heard. I mean, this is a stand-up set, so I don't know how much truth there is to this. But there's a Californian comedian. He was talking about doing ayahuasca for the first time, and he said ayahuasca. What it does is like it gets rid of your ego, so then you're just alone with your thoughts, like surrounded
Yeah.
by people. So you have to confront everything you've never really confronted, and it depends what you have inside of you. That can be like really fucking hard.
Yeah.
Like I've lived a very privileged life, so I think it'd be fun for me. But like other people, I don't
Yeah.
fucking know. Like if I had a very traumatic past, I don't know if I'd be up for that. Like all your demons just going like, "Hey, remember when you were 12?" and then just having to
is-
deal with that shit. You know
Actually,
what I
I
mean?
just remember they do it twice, and the first time it doesn't work, and it's because there's a guy there that
Ruining the
essentially-
vibe.
No, he was abusing the children before they got lost.
Oh fuck.
So they realized they didn't know at the time, and they realized this after the documentary came out, and they were like, "Of course it didn't work the first time because this guy was there, and ayahuasca didn't want us to find the kids with him."
Oh, they were taken to a spiritual place of like ayahuasca's like, "Yo, this dude is
This dude cannot come
he's
in.
a fucking
Yeah.
crib. He's
Wow.
not invited to the cookout."
Yeah,
Like, he is-
exactly.
Fuck.
The indigenous cookout.
Yeah, that's wild.
But I don't know. I'm really interested about ayahuasca because there's this type of like.
But are you guys spiritual?
thing.
Because that's the thing. I'm not a spiritual person. For me, ayahuasca is just a chemical that I want to like. But I don't have that spiritual connection
No?
to it. No.
That's the only
I don't
reason
believe
why
in
I'm-
anything spiritual.
No, that's why I'm interested because
Okay.
I heard enough about it that is like no one that does it is like no, there's no spiritual thing attached to it. I just did it.
Oh.
Everyone that does it
Right.
comes out of it was like yes.
I kind of saw
There was
God a little bit. Yeah.
like it's unanimous. Either they're all schizophrenic now from the drugs, which is a possibility, or there's something to it.
Maybe
I
it
don't
connects
know.
you to a part of your consciousness that you've never like interacted with before, and you're like, oh, that's God.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And by the way, schizophrenia, one of the symptoms of schizophrenia is you think not that you found God, but that you are God, which is wrong. And that's literally
God
if you-
complex.
yeah,
Oh.
God complex, but like for real, like if you research schizophrenia symptoms, one of them, which is just funny, like that's
Yeah.
a symptom of a disease essentially. Like you think you're God,
Right.
Like that's
what if
crazy.
Jesus was just like schizophrenic and he was just like so charismatic that
Dude.
people actually.
Bow to me.
Yes, I am the Son of God.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can walk on water. He's drowning.
He's floating, just
Yeah, that's what-
buzzed out of
He's
his
just
mind.
chilling, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, that's wild.
So never ayahuasca, but other stuff.
Never ayahuasca.
What was the most meaningful drug you've done?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah,
Meaningful is a good choice of words.
is a good word. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm drunk now. I'm just going with the
Damn.
flow.
Yeah. So meaningful. I want to say mushrooms are. Mushrooms can be. You have the decision.
Yeah.
If you've done them a couple times, you know what you're getting into. You can say, I want to approach this in a fun, lighthearted way.
Sure.
Like I want to go out with friends. It's like smoking
Just
weed,
have a trip.
but twice as strong.
Yeah.
I would not necessarily twice as strong, but you know,
It's
just-
different. More like, yeah, I had a friend who described it really well. He said, for me, shrooms were what movies promised weed to be. You know what I mean? When people smoke weed in movies and they're like, oh, fuck.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
was shrooms for us. And that's like a very accurate description, I feel like.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, think about if you smoke a joint, you're high for what, like 2 hours or something like that. Mushrooms last 4 hours.
Yeah.
You know, the thing about most drugs is they're not, if you avoid the scare tactics, all the propaganda and whatnot, they're not going to turn you into somebody you're not.
Yeah.
You're not going to just like be like, you know, I'm an introvert, and then suddenly you're like out there like punching
Talking
people
about,
in the
yeah,
face.
big
Yeah.
claims.
You know,
I've always wanted to do this.
yeah. You know, I would say LSD is one of these things where it kind of does make you who you aren't. So, you know, I don't know how many times I've done LSD. I'm not a fan personally, but I don't regret taking it
Okay.
because, you know, in my natural behavior, my natural habitat, I would say I'm kind of an extrovert.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a chatty guy.
I could see that.
But LSD will turn you in. It'll show you the other side of yourself.
Yeah,
you know.
okay.
So in my few times, maybe I go to like a music festival and I take LSD, and then suddenly people are talking to me, and I'm just like, don't talk to me. You know, like
No,
this.
that's interesting. I had a very similar experience. Like, I tried LSD for the first time at a music festival this summer, and it was with a very close friend of mine, Carlos. Actually, the guy who said the weed thing.
Ah.
That's we're really close.
Big drug guy.
No,
I
not
imagine.
really. Like,
No?
we
You
were
got
both
you
doing
got
it-
Carlos's number?
we were both doing it for the first time, and it was at a festival, so it was easy to get. And we did it, and we're walking from the camping site to the concerts, maybe a half an hour walk. And we started like having this discussion about like heavy topics. We were talking about what was it? It was the brother of a friend of mine came out as not bisexual. Gender fluid. And we started talking about like gender fluidity and all that stuff, and it got weird fast. And it got to a point where like I felt I didn't know my friend. Like
Oh.
it didn't drive us closer together, but further apart.
How come, you think?
Because he had an opinion on gender fluidity that I didn't agree with,
Ah.
and I didn't think we had the tools to like really
To
argue.
articulate.
Yeah, to articulate how
Yeah.
we felt. So it just ended being personal and weird.
Shit.
And then like we went to the concerts, and we were with a group of friends who know we were on acid. So then we were apart for like half an hour, and that half an hour I was like in my head the entire time.
Yeah.
And then there was like a beautiful moment. My friend came to me. He was like, "Are you mad at me?" I
Oh.
said, "No, are you mad at me?" I said, "No, dude, I love you. Why the fuck did we do that?" And then we just started like hugging, and we like actually like articulated well what we thought. Like,
Yeah.
and then we had this beautiful connection for like an hour, and then it just sort of wore off, and then we were just like ourselves again. But it was a very weird like trip because for that like. Because this is one of my best friends in the entire world, and
Yeah.
for that, and normally we talk about heavy subjects, and it's one of those people I can be comfortable with. Like,
I
you know,
think
people
that's-
you're not sorry, but
No, no, yeah, sorry to
You know,
interrupt.
people you're not scared of saying the wrong thing with.
Yeah.
Like you can maybe like make a mistake, and they won't be like, dude. They'll be understanding.
But at that moment, it was like.
But at that moment, we felt like we were like shy to a point, like, oh fuck, like what?
But I do think that's because LSD probably makes you more sensitive, and you
Yeah.
both felt that disconnect.
Hypersensitive.
Yeah, yeah,
Hypersensitive,
for sure.
As if you wouldn't be on the drug, you would just like brush it off as like, nothing happened. Let's just move on. But that made you guys really sensitive to each other, probably.
Yeah.
I don't think LSD, like alcohol, makes this. Like I have some crazy fights with people, like fights, not not a brawl.
No discussions, like arguments.
like crazy
yeah.
discussions and arguments that at the next day I'm like, I actually told Pato this, where I was having this discussion with Val, and the next day I was like, I didn't mean any of that, you know?
Yeah, but
Right.
you do that often though. You just kind of like lie. And it,
But it's not on
kinda like
purpose. It's because like I get a feeling and I use that feeling as
You
the
don't
truth.
analyze it. Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
analyze.
you-
I
you
just
have that-
use that and I go with
Dude,
it.
that's the
And-
thing. It pisses me off when people say that alcohol brings the real you, because no, it just brings unfiltered me. But my filters are a part of me.
Yes.
like I chose those filters.
Well said.
Like,
Well said.
Well said.
like no, I don't believe everything I think.
No, exactly.
And
right.
when
Yeah.
I'm drunk, I just say whatever the fuck, and then I'm just like spouting shit. Like,
Yeah.
And then like I take a second, I'm like, dude, what?
Yeah.
Like that's not. I don't
You know
think that.
what? That's why I love comedians, because comedians say shit and we know that we might be saying some wild shit that we
You
don't
shoot the
mean.
shit and you're like, let's find something here. Yeah.
The group of comedians that we hang out with are usually really fun because you can say like insane stuff that you would never say in your personal life, and it'd be okay because like he would brush off or like not think about it.
Or he doesn't mean it. He's just like, a thing is,
He's trying something out.
People like when you're with comedians, you're like, I'm trying to find something funny here, so I'm just like spouting shit, and we kind of get that because that's how you write.
Yeah,
you're just
that's
like, okay,
creativity,
let's see.
essentially.
Let's like throw shit at the wall, see what sticks. But then when you're with someone who doesn't like vibe with that, they're
It's
like,
weird. Yeah.
what the fuck do you say? Do you mean that? And I'm like, no, I don't mean anything. I'm just
No,
trying
exactly. Try to get
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
something. I don't know
and then
what it is yet.
if I throw something out that I like, I'll be like, oh, I'm keeping that.
Isn't that just creativity though? Because you open up my notebook
Yeah.
and you were like, oh, I shouldn't be reading this.
Yeah.
But like, there's nothing in my notebook. Like maybe you read something that I didn't mean. Maybe I said the N word a bunch of times.
Okay. Yeah.
But
As you do.
as
When
one
you're
does.
being creative, yeah. That's my process. I just say slurs.
That's
So
my warm-up process.
But that's just creativity, because creativity is not knowing where you're gonna go. You just start and
Yeah.
you kind of follow the
Well, you know
vibes.
what? I sort of stopped writing like that. Like I know now where I want to get.
Oh,
Like,
really?
Yeah, I don't know how I'm gonna get there, but for me, like just doing this like free flow kind of thing of like, let's see where this takes me.
Like
Usually
wasn't productive.
takes me nowhere.
Yeah.
Like most of the time.
My
Like,
writing teacher actually said this to me. He's like, this is very dangerous approach to writing, because
Right.
you might waste a lot of time. If you don't have a plan
Yeah.
to what you're writing, you might be wasting a bunch of time.
that's in my
just-
experience for sure.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
just
yeah.
trying to like I've gone through a few themed shows where they're like you have to write about this particular thing. So I was like sit down and write about school or whatever, and I'd be like, what do I think about school? What do I really? Because I remember hearing a Louis C.K. interview, and he's like, this is how I write. I'm like, how do I really feel about? I'm like, Louis C.K. does it. I can do it. So then I started writing. I'm like, dude, this is just like me writing my memoirs of school.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing. So then what I say is like, okay, let me think of like 3 things that I think are funny.
Yeah.
And then explore that. But I know it's gonna get funny because I know it's like inherently a funny concept.
yeah.
Like for example, this thing we had a drug talk. You know, the Dare, I think it's in the States, right?
Yes.
So it's sort of Dare talk. And the thing is, the police officer who gave it, he was essentially teaching us how to do drugs because it was being so informative. Like, it got to a point where he was like, this is cocaine. You can sniff it. Or if you don't want to sniff it, you can put it up in foil and burn it and inhale the... And I remember a kid taking notes, right?
I think I smoked crack
Oh,
What?
one time. And it was, I would say, kind of inadvertent.
Yeah.
But I was being visited. I was in Colombia at a point by a friend, we'll say, who was a big fan of cocaine. And, you know, for me, Coke is akin to coffee.
yeah.
Yeah.
Coke is kind of just like, you know what, like, I don't really like who I am. I'm not gonna say let's do a bunch of Coke and go out and fucking talk
Yeah.
to some babes, you know.
Yeah. Bite
Because
someone's
I'm gonna
ear
be like,
off.
hey, what's going on, baby? You want to talk to me? You want to talk to me or not? You want to talk to that fucking guy? I don't give a shit. So,
Exactly.
but you know, I actually the first time I ever did cocaine, I was in London. And
As one is.
it was my first time
This is very-
in Europe.
Oh.
Okay, and
Let's celebrate with a bang.
And
Yeah.
I was visiting a girl that I had hooked up with a little in college in the U.S. She was a British girl, and I went to visit her. And we're at some bar, and she had worked there. She wasn't working that night, and there were 2 gay guys running it. And they closed it around 1 a.m. Started drawing the curtains. And like one by one, people are disappearing. They're going to use the toilet upstairs.
A lot.
And I'm just like, what? It
is
took me a
going on?
while. I'm
Yeah.
just kind of a retard. So this was slow. But at some point, I'm like, why is everyone going to the bathroom so much?
Yeah. I can't even poop outside my own house. These people are peeing every 2 seconds.
And so this girl goes like, oh, Darby, well, we're actually doing a little bit of cocaine. And I just had this thought in my head. I said, like, well, when else am I going to be in London? I was there for 2 days. I'm
Yeah.
like, this would be great. You know,
Now or
let's-
never sort of
let's
thing.
try
Yeah.
it.
When in London. You
When
know.
in London.
Yeah.
And then with that in the back of my head, you know, like it's going to be a one-off kind of thing. I said, well, I got to make sure I do it right.
Okay.
So we sat, the 4 of us sat, there was a round table in the middle, and they started putting Coke on the tabletop in front of us.
Sorry, that's my Chinese speakers.
The Bluetooth is disconnecting
What got disconnected? I'm worried now.
I've
What
never
the
been
fuck?
more scared in my life.
The
That
TV
was the
shut off.
scariest shit.
Oh, okay. I thought you had like an anal plug or something.
It's ridiculous because they made it sound with it's a Chinese speakers and they made it with a Chinese accent. It's
Oh, yeah.
English. She said it in English, but she said it with a Chinese accent.
How hard can it be to get an AI voice? But no, they wanted to like. They wanted you to know. They wanted you to know. By the way, we
By the
own your
way-
ass.
By the way,
So you're doing Coke the proper way up the butthole.
doing it the proper way, and
London.
and we've got it on the tabletop, and so somebody would make a line, not me, obviously. I'm just kind of like along for the
Yeah.
ride, and then they would spin the table 90 degrees.
Oh,
to
like
go
a
to the next
Chinese
person.
restaurant
Go
table.
boop,
Oh, it's a
Oh,
lazy
like this.
Susan of Coke or
Something like that.
Lazy Susan.
That's
Coke.
an image.
That's an
That's
image.
No, do you know Lazy Susan's like?
Yeah, we know.
Yeah. I've
Oh,
seen it in
okay.
movies. Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
When you're
Okay.
like doing a business transaction and you kind of
Yeah.
like flip it like very dramatically. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the table, I counted, the table went around 15 times. So I did 15 lines
What the? No, you
of
didn't.
blow. It's my first time ever. And in my mind, it's the
15
last
lines?
time.
I mean,
It's the last
Okay.
time.
Okay.
How
I'm
big
not
are
a
those
Coke.
lines?
How many is too many lines? Like how many lines?
15's just about too many.
Oh, it's probably 10 over too many, to be
Okay.
honest.
Okay. So it's like 3 times what normally you'd have for like.
Well, you know, like
sesh.
when I lived in Colombia, we used to get a bag for €4, something
Yeah,
like that,
fuck.
and they just give you a rock in a bag, so you crush it up, and then you share that bag. You get a little key, go into the women's bathroom, and you
Yeah.
do a little key
But that's
bump.
maybe because that's stronger, maybe? Or no?
Yes.
Could it be?
Yeah, that.
well, that's
could be.
adulterated. That makes sense. Yeah.
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 So anyway, the 15 lines. Too
So
many
it goes
lines,
around,
yeah.
and now I'm just like, I'm like fucking out of my mind. And we went to
Picking
some
people
club.
up.
This was like 10, 15 years ago. My first time in Europe.
Right.
And
How old were you? Sorry, just for context.
So I'm 39 now. I was
Yeah.
born in 85.
What? You're
Yeah.
39?
39. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look,
You look great,
Thank
dude.
you.
That's
Oh,
the best. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Holy
must,
shit.
Must be all this cocaine I've been doing.
Cocaine skinny, ready, baby.
For sure.
And we go to this club. It was called Fabric, which I think closed, and it might be open now. But it was.
It's the same company that has the fabric here. Actually, it's the same.
Oh, is it
Oh, in
really?
Madrid, really?
I did
Oh,
not
wow.
know that.
Shit.
Fabric in Madrid, by the way, awesome. I had a successful night there. We don't have to get into it, but we go to Fabric. It's this
I think
crazy
we get
club.
it.
A lot of
Successful.
butthole lines.
Somebody fucked in the bathroom.
Now, somebody fucked on the bench of Retiro Park at
Oh,
8
wow.
in the morning
What?
while
Like,
joggers were running by.
Like
Who was
a
that
true
somebody? That
Madridian.
was-
I said somebody. I didn't say who. So we go to this club and we get in there and like
It was just him jerking off at the bench in Retiro.
Somebody had a great night.
and we walk in there
And your Apple Watch is like, you're running so much in the theater. And you're like, yeah.
22,000 steps. In the 22 minutes. So no, London. So we go to this club and I go in there and this girl that I was visiting, we had hooked up once before in California, so it was like it's gonna happen here.
Yep.
But I'm all fucked out of my brain. I bumped into
You bump into
bumped in. Hey, you want to up? I bumped into a Spanish MILF.
All right.
So
The best.
Those are good.
probably
Yeah.
mid 40s, big fake cans,
Here you.
and we're just kind of like looking at each other, dancing a little bit. And she says, "Do you want to try poppers?"
Oh,
And
what
I'm
are
like,
poppers?
I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know
Paint
what it
thinners.
is."
Poppers is a liquid that you sniff, and it's famously known for getting your butthole loose for anal sex.
No way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To receive anal sex, just
Yes.
to
Oh,
clarify.
yeah, I got that. Yeah. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes your dick smaller.
Yeah, it's just like-
so you can
it's-
fuck butt.
That'd be hilarious. It just shrinks your dick and you're like, I'm ready.
Perfect, ready to go.
That'd be really fun.
Mostly in the States, it's known for that, but like in Europe, poppers is more of a casual drug.
It's a club drug.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a club.
If you ever-
Everyone has anal sex here.
If
It's just
after
a
you
normal
have
thing.
a kid and you actually like get out and you start smelling like paint thinners in
Yeah.
a club, that's it.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
This one time I spilled a whole bottle of poppers on my hands.
Oh no!
So I had just people sniffing my hands.
Dude, that's what sucks. Like whenever there's poppers around, you just get like a bunch of owls going like, "Ooh," and they're just like, "Ooh," because you can like smell it from like a kilometer around.
That's wild, dude. There's so many drugs. I can't keep up.
We'll get there, man. We'll get there. Okay, so
one drug at a time.
Fake cans, fake cans, poppers.
So I start doing poppers with this this Spanish MILF, and we start making out soon after. And as I was making out with her, I had one eye open, and I could see my friend in the background with her hands on her hips, and just like.
The friend you hook up to.
Yeah, that you're. It's a bit rude.
And that was the last I saw her all night. So now, so she left me, and I'm alone in London, and I was staying at her house. So,
you were staying at the house, and you hooked her with the MILF.
Yes.
Oh,
so
that's that's such a bad move.
Yeah, I know. I'm full of those.
Yeah.
Full of those. And
whereabouts in London, by the way? You remember?
I don't know.
No.
You need to check where Fabric was like 15 years ago or something like that.
Yeah. Okay, so then do you leave the Spanish MILF?
So I basically I hung out with her for a little bit. I remember going in the bathroom very vividly, and I'm like not bumping into people, but it's just kind of like wow, everything's like undulating and whatnot. And I saw a girl in the bathroom. I said, "Oh fuck, I'm in the wrong bathroom." And I flip around to leave, and then I see a guy in the bathroom. I'm like, "No, she's in the wrong bathroom." Then I see two girls walking in, and I'm like, "What is happening here?" And that's where I learned that a lot of clubs in London have
gender neutral.
Coke.
Yeah,
exactly.
No, it's Coke bathroom. I think it is.
Coke. You were in the cocaine bathroom.
Gender neutral Coke bathrooms.
We don't care what you have between your legs. We care what's up your nose.
So where did this coked out version of you sleep that night?
So we ended up leaving. Me and the MILF leave, and keep in mind that there are no windows in the club. Yeah. Okay, and there's also some special technology in the floor. Like it's like shockproof or something. So the idea is like you don't get tired, your feet don't get tired.
Foam, like what athletes run on.
Something. Fuck. No, I want to say there's like springs under there or some shit like this.
Maybe it was the cocaine.
Could have been. Yeah. Could have been. And we end up leaving, and it's I have no sense of time. We walk outside. The sun is up. It's like 8 a.m. I had no idea. So I say, so where do you want to go? So we'll go to your house, right? And she says, no, I live like an hour away, but I know a good cemetery we could go to.
Oh hell yeah.
That's
and this was before like my really degenerate days, before I had started banging outdoor a lot, because that would come later in my life.
Yeah,
so
because then you would have been like 100%. That's fucking,
oh yeah.
Let's saltburn this shit. Yeah.
So we end up walking around the streets, and I'm like sweating profusely. It's pretty warm now. And we're looking for a hotel. We're looking for like an hour.
Yeah.
And we finally find one. We get in there. It was probably like 150 euros, something like that.
For an hour?
Room, for like one night.
Okay. Okay.
And we get in there. We pay. We go up to the room. I'm like, I'm just trying to bang and then pass out. And then at some point we realize, oh, nobody has any condoms.
Oh.
And I was responsible at this point, okay? So I said, like, I'm going to go find condoms. So I go, I walk, and I'm still, like, sweating and just, like, a mess. My hair is all disheveled.
Shouldn't be hard to find condoms at this place, right?
It shouldn't be.
Yeah.
But it was.
Yeah.
So it took...
Bad business decision.
Yeah. It took probably like 45 minutes, something like that.
Yeah.
And I finally find a corner store, and I walk in. And behind the desk, there is a small child working there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, mate.
When in London,
you got any... and I'm like, oh, this is fucking awkward. So I start, like, pantomiming. I'm like, you got any of these...
No way.
Oh, to a kid.
That's worse, dude.
Could have just said the word.
As I do it, I look down.
Just said condom.
100%.
That's 100%
I
worse.
look up.
Do you have any?
You showed.
You got any of that? I'm trying to get my.
It'd be so funny if the kid was like, "You what, mate? The fuck you want? I can't see. It's a fucking." He's like just barely his eyes.
Basically, And as I was doing that, I
Poor kid,
I looked
dude.
up, and the kid's dad was standing right behind him.
Oh no!
And I was like, condoms? And he didn't even say anything. He just grabbed him, like slammed him on the counter.
No way.
Right.
I put peso. What the fuck do they use?
Pounds.
Pounds. Pesos.
Well, you pounded before. Now you
I
put down a pound.
pounded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After pounding.
And I get him, and I go back to the hotel, and I walk in the room, and I go in there, and this chick is fucking sleeping.
No way.
I mean,
And I'm like,
Makes sense.
no!
after
I'm
I
like-
got the.
And I go, wake up. And she's like, no, I want to
No.
sleep. I'm like, I was like, go shower or
Oh,
whatever. I'm like, we're doing this, you know? So she goes into the bathroom.
She does.
She showers. 20 minutes later, she comes out. We bang. And we slept a few hours. Now, we woke up 3, 4 p.m., something like that. And this is 2009, 2010.
Yeah.
So nobody's got cell phones at this point.
Some
And
people do.
Some people. I was late to the party. I had my
Okay.
first cell phone, my first smartphone was 2017.
Oh, that's late.
Yeah,
for
I was
sure,
late.
Yeah.
I was late. And I had a burner before that.
Okay, so they're not as common, maybe.
No, maybe
Yeah.
not.
Okay.
So I went to a what do they call a payphone,
Oh shit.
which in London I want to say they're red. The
red ones.
like
Yeah,
a
famously,
shell,
right?
something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
It's real funny that you. I want to say they're famously red. What are you talking about? That's the big point of
Yeah,
London.
yeah,
Dude,
true.
how high were you, dude?
Oh,
like
I was
fucking.
high as
Yeah.
donkey balls. And I go in there, and now she's over there. She's by my side, the Spanish MILF, and I'm like, all right, be quiet here. I got a phone call to make. Pick up the phone. I find the phone number for my friend, and I dial it. She's like, hello. And I'm like, hey, what's up? She's like, what do you want? And I'm like, listen, I don't know what the fuck happened last night. Somebody was giving me drugs at the club, and then there was a woman kissing me, and then I slept outside in a cemetery.
Oh, the victim
and now
card.
I've got mud all over my knees. Please, I don't know what happened. Can you come pick me up? And she's like, oh, all right, yeah, wait there.
Really?
And
was nice
she
about
came
it?
and she got me.
But what happened with the Spanish MILF? Did you throw her a scoot? Or?
I was I had to tell her to kick rocks. She was a MILF because she was a mother.
Yes.
And she was saying, like, there was a point where it became her trying to like pitch me to be like the father of
No
this
way.
child.
Whoa.
She's like, Tony is such a good boy, and
No
I'm
way.
like, oh, wait, what?
Poor kid,
Why do you
too.
keep telling me about this kid?
Yeah, also poor kid. If you like, imagine your mom comes after a night of debauchery with just some dude, and he's like, "That's your dad now."
Yeah. After doing poppers and coke.
Yeah, and you're like, "Mom, why do you smell like paint again?"
Yeah. What
Hey, sport, I'm gonna be your new daddy.
Where's the bathroom? Fuck, dude.
So
it was all good with your friend in the end there.
Yeah, we never hooked up. I was only there 2 nights, so that night, for whatever reason, nothing happened.
For whatever
Nothing went
reason.
I
down.
think she was over it.
For whatever
Also,
reason.
just another point about this woman's kid. I would imagine he's pretty like used to it by now. I think
Yeah.
she brings a guy home. He's at the door smoking a cigarette.
Yeah.
He's like, "You here for the old lady? Okay, come in." Like, you know what I mean?
He looks at him, $50.
Yeah. If you give me $50, I'll scram, and you can do whatever the fuck you. Yeah, buy me Legos, and I'll
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
So-
That's another good story.
It's another fun time abroad. I guess.
Yeah.
So many travels.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we didn't do like a proper introduction of.
Oh.
I tried.
Yeah. You tried, yeah, but like, yeah, it was pretty. How would you like describe? You were a travel blogger for 15 years. You said. Wow,
Yeah.
that's insane.
So the actual blog started when I first lived abroad. No, I studied abroad in Japan when I was like 20, I want to say.
Yeah.
I was 20 because I turned 21. I was in a city called Nagoya, the 4th biggest city in Japan, which was amazing. Anyone listening, watching right now, if you're
Nagoya.
young, then what are you doing awake? Go to bed. This is adult talk. But
It is wild that these types of like video podcasts don't have any age restriction. Like I tried.
Oh no,
You can
Spotify's
watch
gonna
it.
like
Yeah.
yeah. No.
Oh, we're getting flagged for this one.
Oh yeah,
I
sure.
don't think so.
But I was gonna say study abroad is easily one of the best things you could do.
I agree with that.
You went to Canada,
I was
right?
in Canada, and I think it was one of the best experiences of my life.
Yeah.
Just because not only you live abroad and you get to experience another culture, but you're you without any pressure. Nobody knows you. You can be whoever the
That's
fuck you
it,
want.
yeah.
Dude, I started doing stand-up in Canada because I was like, dude, who's gonna know?
Yeah.
Like, if I bomb, who the fuck is gonna know? And turns out, I'm still doing stand-up.
Very nice.
Exactly
very nice.
right.
How long ago was that?
Canada was COVID, so 2019 to 2020.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then you've been, I guess, minus COVID. You
Yeah.
weren't doing, and nobody was doing comedy for COVID.
No, for sure.
No, COVID. It was no. Like, I started doing it in Canada, and then I came back. COVID, everything's closed down, and then I kind of get cold feet again because I'm like, I don't know, maybe I was funny in Canada, but not here.
Yeah.
Because my entire set was just being a foreigner in Canada.
in
You know what?
Canada.
Yeah.
And that's a very easy angle to like go somewhere like, I noticed this thing that's weird.
Yeah.
Like, I think one of my opening jokes was about how they all had like carpets, but they all had dogs.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, that's pretty fucking stupid. Like, you
Yeah,
can't.
what you mean?
Yeah. And then
Pissing
also,
on
like, when you
carpet.
try to remove carpet, it's just like spikes, which I thought was needlessly aggressive. If like you wanted to redecorate your house, so it was like that.
Observation.
Yeah,
as
it
a
was awesome. It was
foreigner.
like
Yeah.
then you come back home where nothing's weird.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what do I have? So then I sort of like got cold feet, and then in 2023. I did a stand-up comedy course, and it kind of gave me wings, and then from
Nice.
there, yeah.
Nice.
What about you? Why did you start comedy? Like
So interestingly enough,
in Spain too, from all places. Yeah.
So
You started stand-up here in Spain?
no, I started just before I came to Spain my first time. I was living in Los Angeles. This is probably 2018.
Okay.
And I was working as a TV producer for a Japanese television network.
Oh, you have a joke about that. I
And
remember.
I did a joke. Yeah, I did that joke once, by the way, and I had prepared that joke for like a year because it requires speaking Japanese like fast, like
Yeah.
screaming it.
Yeah.
And that's the only time I did that, and I love that joke, but I've only done it once.
It's a great bit.
And I feel like I'm kind of, I don't know if you guys ever feel this way, like you're saving jokes or you're like, because
Oh, this one's a good one, so I'm gonna.
Yeah.
This is not open mic material.
and I'm not a great I'm probably a funny guy, but I'm not a great comedian, so I'm not really in tune with like the whole routine. Like you got
Yeah.
something that works,
Techniques.
Yeah.
Kinda.
So in my head I have this funny joke, but I want to kind of, I don't know, save it. Do you guys ever feel that way?
I do get that, but like most
Not
of the time, it's
really.
just you being precious with your ideas. Like you have to put it up on stage and see how it works. Because in your head it works one way, but then on stage, things you thought, like it happens to me a lot of the time where like I'll doing a joke for the first time at open mic, and then I pause for laughs.
And no
Nothing.
laughs.
But then I'm like just going through the premise, and people start cracking up. I'm like, wait, no.
How? Why? How
Yeah,
come?
yeah.
I
And then
don't
you have to like
that.
modulate it from that reaction.
Exactly, because I got into comedy 5 years after doing like 5-year-long course classes, writing course, like creative writing stuff, and I realized that a year into the writing course that everything I thought it was great bombed at the writing class,
Yeah.
and vice versa. Everything I thought it was shit, people were like, "Oh, this is great, you should," and I don't think so. But at the same time, I remember one joke you did, and it sticks to my head because it's so funny.
You could tell it. I'm not.
You're not precious
absolutely.
about it.
No, fuck
I don't know how to phrase it because
Sure.
I want to butcher it for sure. But it's just a one short part of your joke, which you're talking to a woman and you're like, "Hey," and the woman says, "Oh, you're American," and your reaction is, "What?" And then she's like, "Yeah, you're American." You're like, "Oh yeah, that's right." And that block is just makes me laugh.
Yeah, it was
a lot.
funny because that wasn't even a joke in my head. It was just like I think I came up with that like
in the spot. You think?
not in the spot, but like maybe 20, 30 minutes. I was like, what? How can I set this joke up?
Yeah.
Right.
And the joke was about guns eventually,
Yeah.
and I used my credibility as an American, right? So the setup was basically like somebody says, "Now, Darby, you're American, aren't you?" And I say, "What?"
Yeah.
And then they say, "You're American, aren't you?" And then I say, Oh yeah, that's right. Sorry. What was your question? What were we gonna ask?
Why add that to the joke?
No, that's
Just
funny.
some
That's a
little
small
stupid shit.
But you kind of got to do that,
uh,
especially because like you're a good storyteller.
Yeah.
So that means normally your premises are long,
Yeah.
and you have to keep people engaged.
That-
so like
those
sprinkling
beats,
it like
yeah.
little things like.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm more of a joke guy, so it's like a 1 minute, then 1 minute, then 1 minute. So it's not hard to keep people's attention because they're like, oh, next thing, kind of like Chavi does.
Yeah.
Like Chavi literally goes next joke. And people go like, oh, they tune in. But if you're a
Yeah.
storyteller and you're like doing this long-winded thing, you have to keep people's attention. Like keep them, like
Yeah.
pepper it with like little jokes. And so
Yeah.
that's a good thing of like, actually, I think there's an analogy here for like music producing, which,
Yeah.
sometimes people add effects on songs like a
Yeah.
siren or something. I think that's kind of a similar thing. Like you hear a siren in a song, you're like, oh, what the fuck was that?
Yeah,
so you
it's to
kind of
keep
have
your
to like,
attention. Is attention grabbing.
similar
Yeah,
things because like most of I liked your jokes and they were very storytelling based jokes. But if you're at an open mic where people don't trust you, because that's normally where you're like people don't trust you to be a good comedian, you need to fucking keep them engaged. Because if you do that at like a showcase, people have this thing of like, okay, he's at a showcase, he's like seasoned, he's good, whatever. So they keep their attention more because they trust you. Open mic, you got to fight for your fucking life.
And
Yeah.
it's different for every craft. Like your videos, you do that very well. Where you're like, you have a video part that is a little bit too long. I can see you put like something to the screen or something to grab your attention. It like throws you off, but it's good because it's making you more interested on the narrative. It feels like
just a little.
But
like,
I think like the crafts, like you need to learn doing it, kind of. I don't think there's
see
a
what
lot
you
of,
like.
Trial by fire. Right?
Yeah. Also,
Because
like because
comedy.
at the beginning,
So yeah,
at the beginning, I was just copying who I liked, and
exactly.
then
Yeah.
I found out what I can do, what I can't do, what I like doing, and then from that you start building.
100%.
Yeah, it's just like you got to do it. Like don't be precious, and not to be. I don't want you to misconstrue this, but you're not yet at a point where you can be precious with your jokes. Like you're still trying to like get spots,
Yeah.
fucking throw everything, and then
See what happens.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
Yeah, I've realized that now, and because like I said, I know I'm a pretty funny guy, but that doesn't always
Translates exactly.
Yeah.
exactly
For sure.
So
Like, you're a great podcast guest because you're like funny in conversation.
Thank you.
But that's very different from being on stage. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Stand-up.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and this is something I wanted to mention to you guys, is that, everything I've done mostly up, in Madrid here, open mics, whatnot, has been jokes.
Yeah.
And some of them are jokes. Some of them are like, let me just say some asinine shit.
Yeah.
Some of them are just really how I think. And I'm like, oh, that might be funny. Let's see. Well, bombed. Fuck it, But I haven't tapped into any of... Voice crack there.
I haven't tapped into. Yeah.
So I haven't
happens.
tapped into any of my stories. And that's the thing, because I know I have good stories, but... It's kind of like, how do you condense that?
Yeah.
How
I was
do
gonna
you
say, dude, you have 5 minutes at an open mic.
Yeah.
Like
It's
you
not
got to
the
work with
same
that. You know what I
venue.
mean?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not the same way.
But also that's good. Like when people restrict the time you have, it makes you like take out all the self-indulgent parts. Like I realized a lot of my jokes had like little maybe 15 minutes of 15-second segments that I thought were like really funny and cool.
Yeah.
But they were just like me being like, look how cool and interesting I am.
That
and then when you
sucks.
take that
Yeah.
out, it gets so much better because like you have to condense information quickly. And I heard this thing. There's a YouTuber called H Bomber Guy. I love the guy that does video essays. And
Shout out H Bomber guy.
great guy.
Bomber guy.
No, he's really good.
I've
And
heard of
he
him,
said this
actually.
thing
It
like,
sounds familiar.
if you ever like write something, do something, when you think you're finished, take out 10%.
Yeah.
Like make yourself take out 10%.
Great point, yeah.
And that's normally gonna like take out indulgences, like things you thought were like fun or whatever, but it was just you like jerking off.
Yeah.
And that works. Like whenever I write something, I'm like, okay, this needs like 10 seconds later.
Yeah.
And then
The reduction
it gets bare
missed.
bones and it gets better.
My writing teacher used to say like, what's for you and what's for the audience, because there's
Yeah.
some stuff you're putting on paper that's just for you. Like,
Dude, I really need a pee.
yeah, I was gonna actually recommend we close because I need to go.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
But we can do some like a quick round of last questions.
Okay.
I do have some quick questions.
Sure.
How many times are you performing like for real? Like, how many times a week are you performing? And is this something you're taking seriously now?
So
Or-
I've only done mics at the Lab.
Yeah.
The Lab.
Yeah.
That's Madrid Comedy Lab for those
yeah.
for the international audience. And I've
Friends
I've
of the
only
podcast.
I've only done like 5 mics there.
Right.
Oh, okay.
And I used to go on like Tuesdays and Sundays, and I have class. I'm studying in Madrid. I'm doing a master's.
I remember, yeah.
So I can't do Tuesdays anymore. And the boys, the owners, are out traveling around on Sundays.
True,
I've gone all month without doing any mics. And,
Me too.
I felt like, fuck, you know?
Right.
It's
Yeah,
kind
but
of-
you should speak to other shows. Like there's other showrunners.
There are plenty of other shows.
Yeah.
I could use.
I'll let you know. No, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I could use some pointers because it's kind of. I did go to El Golfo one time.
Oh, for the Sylvia Sparks thing.
Because I said, you know what? I've never done a mic in Spanish. And I
You
said-
did it in Spanish?
And I said, let's fucking do it. But it was Halloween. And
nice.
even though they promoted an open mic, I got there, their like special Halloween show. And I was like, fuck.
Oh, that sucks.
Because I spent, a good
You wrote
48
material.
hours. Yeah. And I was like, I think you're less. On one hand, my Spanish it's shit, but it's passable shit.
It's
Right.
passable, yeah.
So
for sure.
on one hand, it was like, I'm bad, but I can work with that.
I can be
because
funny still.
My
Yeah.
accent's
Yeah.
shit, and people could laugh at
A lot
that.
of people do that. Like Spanish comics, when they do English shows, they usually start off making a joke about their accent. Like Danny Boy, great Spanish comedian. He starts, I think, his opening line is, "The first joke of this set is going to be my English."
Yeah.
And he
people
that kind
giggle,
of sets the stage for like people go like, "Oh, okay, he's like not taking himself too seriously."
Yeah.
So that's good. By the
Yeah.
way, were you a fan of stand up growing up, or was that the thing? And you're like, or did you discover stand up later? I'm always curious.
I was a fan. I can tell you very vividly the one special that like really impacted me was Dave Chappelle's first stand-up.
The Ghetto Baby,
My favorite,
Killing Them Softly.
My favorite
Yeah.
bit ever is from Killing Them Softly, and it's a baby on a corner. And if you have not seen that, I recommend everyone go watch that now. But that really, really resonated.
gun store,
with
liquor
me.
store, gun store. What the fuck?
Where the fuck you taking me?
Yeah.
So, and then I kind of got into George Carlin a bit after that.
Right.
There's a bit where he does on religion, where, as far as I'm concerned, he made me go from an agnostic to an atheist with one 10-minute comedy bit.
Yeah.
Black
and-
turtleneck.
And then and I was more into like guys who were kind of more like philosophers, you could
Bill
say.
Hicks,
Bill
that's
Hicks,
what- yeah.
exactly. And now I listen to Bill Burr's podcast every week. Huge fan of that. Anything Dave Chappelle puts out. I mean, I'm a comedy guy.
Yeah.
But Louis C.K. of course,
Yeah.
love
Yeah,
him. It's more just I watch it, I laugh, and I'm not necessarily inspired.
Okay.
I'm inspired by like the audience and the number of people they could resonate with, but I feel like I'm maybe original in thought that I don't want to try and emulate them.
Right.
That's really interesting because for me it's the same thing. I think comedy is the only art form that I do that I don't try to emulate anyone necessarily, because
That's good.
it's like a very zen type of thing for me, comedy.
Yeah.
Because it's like I can actually be who I want without.
Yeah, you don't compare yourself to your idols, which is something I fight against every fucking day.
in comedy. You think?
Yeah, because like normally when I write a bit, I write it in someone else's voice still. Like
Yeah.
I'm like I write a bit and I'd be like, oh, this would be so much better if so and so like did it. You know what I mean?
That's interesting.
And then I try to emulate that, but then at the same point, the more you write, the more you just
Find your
write how
voice,
you
yeah.
write. Like because it's gotten to a point where I need new material quickly, so I can't like fucking sit and be like, how would Louis C.K. or John
Yeah, yeah,
Mulaney do it? It's like, dude, I need something for tomorrow.
Yeah.
So then you just write, and then you end up like a friend of mine pointed this out. He's like, dude, every like 2 new bits you do, you're just kicking something, and that's right. I'm a kicker. Like I did a joke about unchristened babies, how they like crawl up to heaven, and I have Saint Peter kicking babies.
Yeah.
And then I had another one about like somebody kicking me when I was like, stay down on the ground, like that sort of thing.
You are
And I
a
was-
kicker. You're right.
That's the thing. Like but that's the thing that it was when somebody pointed that out. I was like, oh fuck, that's me.
yeah.
Like there's no other comic. Like I
Yeah.
know it's a stupid thing. It's not.
No,
like,
but
it's
yours.
me. That's a
Yeah.
me thing. Like that's not something I got from Mulaney or like CK or whoever.
Yeah.
That's a me thing. And
Yeah,
I was like,
100%.
and when a friend pointed it out, I was like, oh fuck, I'm getting like
There's
I have
something,
a one me
yeah.
thing. Like I don't want to be the kicking comic of Madrid, but at least I have something that I'm like, that's me.
The
you know?
the kicking comic of Madrid is
It's a great
Good
little.
It's got a
special
nice
name.
ring
Yeah,
to
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck, now I kind of want to be the kicking comic of Madrid.
Fuck.
Yeah, I think it's fun.
Yeah, you know what, Pato? Say something, dude.
No,
what is happening?
I'm totally drained, man.
Holy
I mean,
shit.
We
Also,
gotta
like
end
you
this
guys
thing.
been talking
Man's
about comedy.
hungover.
Yeah, we're gonna kill Pato.
Kill Pato.
Yeah, you gotta plug Darby or Pato.
What?
Are you gonna say something?
I mean, but you guys have been going into. I'm not a comedian. And you guys have been going comedy.
He's our editor.
I'm just an editor.
Oh, you got good vibes.
That's true. We keep him for the vibes.
Yeah.
And also he knows how to use Photoshop and shit. So.
That's fine.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So I need to close it.
Yeah.
But I want to give you space to shout out anything. I was thinking it might be a good idea for us to co-upload this to YouTube as well because you have your account there. So
I would love to. I would if you would let me. I mean, I could either take a few minutes, I could clip it out, or I could put whatever.
I usually
the whole
say
thing
the
on.
videos, the guest video as well. Anything you want to do with it is yours.
You know,
So
I'm
whatever.
more about my idea because there was a moment where I started doing YouTube videos like 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And there was a period where I thought like, I'm going to be a fucking famous YouTuber.
Yeah.
I'm going to make money. I told my dad that and he always holds it over my head. He's
Oh, dude, that was a bad move.
You're not famous anymore. Huh? You're not doing anything. So
Yeah, but you had some great views on your videos.
Yeah,
Like, you got some traction.
If
at
I could be
least.
objective, I think the videos are good. There's a couple that are like exceptional. I
agree. Yeah.
Not to toot my own horn.
Dude, the
No, but you put
octopus-
work into it, and you can tell.
I put work. I put work.
The one you're eating octopus, the live octopus
Yeah.
thing. That the camera, at least the
camera was good.
production on that
Yeah, I had
was crazy.
a buddy that studied abroad with me in Korea who married a Korean girl, and he brought a really nice camera.
Awesome.
That was the first one, I think, in 4K.
Oh yeah.
But what was I gonna say? Yeah, I feel like I'm at a point where all I want to do is just elevate people I work with. I don't want to get views. I don't measure success on views. But if you do something, if you make a piece of art, you want people to see it.
To see it,
you know?
for sure.
Yeah, otherwise,
That's part of
like,
it.
yeah.
It would be nice if your friends see it and shit, but get a few strangers in
Of
there.
course.
You know what?
And also get the feedback of people who don't know you. That's
Exactly,
always
right.
very, very useful.
Absolutely. So I'm happy to be here. Like I said, I was doing a blog that got shut down. The blog is becoming a book. I've been working on this book for fucking 7 years.
That's
and just real quick, I'll set it up. When I first moved to Vietnam in 2009, I started blogging, and the story nobody read. It was probably past the prime of blogs, you know.
Yeah.
And I started getting views because I was living a crazy life. I was just, banging a bunch and doing a bunch of crazy
Was that
shit.
on the blog too?
That was on the blog. And the blog was called Explicit Exploits.
Right.
And I think maybe through authenticity or just being like an open book, people started to read it, so at most I had like, I don't know, 200 or 300 people reading each blog.
Yeah.
And the idea was like, let me take the best of these, the most wild of stories, and let me turn them into a book. And sadly, that takes a bit of work.
For sure,
the
yeah.
editing process, as you know,
Yeah.
with comedy or whatnot. So, look for a book sometime maybe the next time I'm on here.
Yeah,
we'll
sure.
have a book.
We'll circle back.
But if you are interested in travel with a bit of humor, I do have a YouTube channel called Where am I?
Yeah,
There
the
you
camera.
It's called
That's your camera.
Explicit Explorers.
Plural?
That's I don't know how to spell that. Explicit Explorers.
We'll link it in the description of this
It'll
episode.
be-
and they'll
You
get
know,
to
when
it.
I spell things
Yeah.
in Spain, they always get it wrong. I go to get tacos. They say nombre, and I say Darby. Darby. And I
There you
swear to
go.
God,
your name is very bad for Spanish.
no, but it's never Darby on the receipt.
Yeah.
It's always Darwin. It's always Darcy. Some shit.
Yeah.
So
Oh, like Pride
I'm
and Prejudice?
fucking up,
Nice.
or everyone in Spain's wrong.
We are fucking up. We're sorry about that.
Oh god,
Yeah.
oh god, I love Spain. But
Your
aside from that,
Instagram is also Explicit Explorers.
yeah, I think it's just Explicit Explorer.
Singular.
That's
Yeah.
not confusing. It's fine.
We'll just link everything under the description.
Yeah, we'll put it
That's
on the
Yeah.
description.
But no, I want to thank you guys for having me. It was,
thank
it
you
was a
for
lot of
doing it.
fun.
Yeah,
I
it's
love
really
the
fun.
format. I love the house.
Thank you.
And
great
last thing I'll
house.
say to you is you're having a baby soon.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Hey.
I want the baby to be the youngest podcast guest you've ever had on
It's
here.
100% going to be that.
No, that's
yeah.
gonna be
So I'm
an
talking
episode for
out
sure.
the womb,
Yeah.
headphones, mic,
Yes.
you know, even
Oh, dude.
before the umbilical cord gets cut.
Hell
We're
yes.
using that as a mic cord. Like, we're
Her
100%.
first words are going to be DMT, you know.
Oh, that's great. We got the
Yeah.
clip. Thank you for tuning in.
All right, guys. Thank you
Last
very
week's
much.
Tortilla, episode 7.
Bye, everyone.
Toodaloo.
Sayonara.
Nice. I also have to pee very badly. Dude, I was holding it in because it was the outro, but I was like, fuck.
That was great.
That was fun.
Sorry.
Thank you, guys.
Great guest.
I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I'm so dead, man.